Happy Wednesday. How you doing today, Coop?
I was actually thinking with what just happened behind the scenes, it would be great if we started like maybe recording some of our outtakes. That would have been a good outtake, don't you think?
Right. It all happens, man. Dogs are coming in the room, at least for me, and people don't be respecting the live. Like, they'll call me in the middle of live, like I'm on live, man. No one can. Yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, we got the outtakes, and we got Terminator 2 in first. DeCarlo's in second. Man, it's a lot to talk about today, man. That Black Star album is fire.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. I have a lot to say about that. And I know why everybody wanted us to talk about this Ransom album, because that shit is fire too.
Man, it's beautiful when we get to just talk about.
I love the fact
great.
that we can sit here and just talk about music and talk about music with the people and the people that really want to rock with music, because there's so many other quote unquote hip hop outlets out there, and all they focus on is gossip and shit. This is focused on the music. I heard that TMZ has like a new hip hop show or something. I don't even know how that works, but whatever. And Yo MTV Raps is coming back.
Yeah, I saw that.
What do you think about that?
I mean, the child in me, the kid in me that like won't grow up and like is nostalgic about things like that is like excited. The adult in me that sees how the archetypes of us in the hip hop community get perpetuated in modern times makes me feel like it's potentially problematic. Yep.
I think that the mainstream, actually, there really virtually wasn't a mainstream when Yo MTV Raps was out back then. It might have been like 2 or 3 guys that were mainstream. I'm interested to see how they're going to balance this out. Are people like Ransom going to get, the light they should? Are they going to play the Freddie Gibbs lane? Or are they just going to go straight Drake, Lil Baby? Are they going to do a little bit of everything? But we'll see. But, it's a major network funded by major corporations. They're probably going to go super mainstream, and it's going to crash and burn. That's my prediction. And speaking of predictions, they're saying that Kendrick might have a double album. We're going to talk about that too. And of course, we're going to talk about Eminem getting inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and Tribe Called Quest getting left out in the cold, even being 10 years his senior. Shout out to Blue Collar Hustle with the super chat. He says, y'all going to discuss the Kendrick double album? Yes, we are. Alleged double album. You know what? This is my thing, man. Y'all might not want this to be a double album. Y'all know what the history of double albums looks like in hip hop?
I think people are looking at it more from the stature of how great MCs who have come before, or great collectors before, have done with double disc, which has been admirable. But I mean, this is one of those things too. Like, this might be a great litmus test, Mike, because you and I talk frequently that it's like, well, the only classic double rap albums are All Eyes on Me, Life After Death, Wu-Tang Forever. And I think the Wu-Tang Forever is like a barely, and over a course of time. Mm-hmm. I think when the Wu-Tang Forever came out, it wasn't until the whole genre and aesthetic became less lyrical that album garnered more acclaim and appreciation.
Yeah, it wasn't an instant classic by no means. I think it was one of those things too. When we got the W, we appreciate it forever more.
I like the W, unlike a lot of people.
I like the W too. And after we got Iron Flag, we appreciated the W more.
No, I did not like Iron Flag.
Of course, yeah. Shout out to 007 in the building. It says Ransom's album had a cinematic feel, message, meaning, story, bangers, great balance, feel for an album, and they're gonna argue with your mama delivered with no machine. He did deliver with no machine. You want to get right into the Ransom? We were gonna talk about the fact that Clip's rare audio footage is back on streaming platforms, but I think we should jump right into the Ransom, man.
No, we can do the Ransom thing. Maybe we can segue with the exclusive audio footage and the Pusha T thoughts and sentiments that I had and some of the future stuff, and some of the people, questioning our credibility. Correct?
Yeah,
Correct?
yeah. Why do I keep saying raw? Yeah, exclusive audio footage. But Ransom. Ransom put out a tweet before his album, or the day his album dropped. He was like, "For those who fuck with my shit, I'm out here giving it all I got for you. I'm never gonna cheat you. I'm leaving it all in the booth."
Mm-hmm.
And that he did.
Mm-hmm.
No rest for the wicked.
You want me to? About to say, you want me to go, or you?
You
How
could
do
go
you
ahead
feel?
and start it off. I got the track list up for the people. I wanted to know like what were some of the standout tracks for you on the album.
Well, there's a lot of that going on.
Okay.
That's part of what makes it one of the three best rap albums of the year so far, in my opinion.
Okay.
Um,
Give people the three real quick.
the three would be, well, I mean, shoot, we're talking about two of them today.
We are. Action packed show, by the way.
Right. We're talking about No Rest for the Wicked, and we're talking about No Fear of Time. That would probably be my 1 and 2 right now, but that's only because I haven't listened to the Earth Gang from beginning to end in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But Ghetto Gods, and the two projects that we're going to be covering today are the three best rap albums of the year, in my opinion. And right now, just on, I guess we could call it on a technicality, Ransom would be the MC of the year right now. I know I said it would be J. Cole, but J. Cole doesn't actually have a full-length player that is the mic display this year that this is, obviously, even though he's been on a tear. This is a pretty masterful piece of work by Ransom.
I agree. I mean, bar for bar, it's a lot of bar work on here. He covered a lot of things, a lot of topics, and he was vicious the whole time with the flow, with the delivery, with the lyricism. You know, I didn't expect the Game to make a feature on this project, and the Game did his thing. I like the production on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, listening to it from beginning to end, I'm like, yeah, man, this is some phenomenal work. And this is MC of the year type of work. And him saying that he left it all in the booth, I heard that. You know what I'm saying?
So if you want to get to specifics about what I enjoy, well, the Hawk, to start off, the Hawk,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that's a wonderful tone setter. That's one of those, like, that's an old school MC's aesthetic of not having an artist feature on the first song.
Mm-hmm.
It's also like, I'm going to go for mine and show you who I am. And he does a wonderful job of it. It sets a tone for the bar work that you're talking about, Mike. Like the bar work that's about to take place on the Hawk, you hear it. It's like, oh, like he's going for his right now.
You know, like you said something there, man. He let us know who he was. A lot of people in the chat are saying 4.5 mics off top. And I'm with that. It's either 4.5 or 4.7. I'm leaning more towards 4 or 5. But I want to know what y'all favorite song on the album was too. What I was gonna say is, you know, he let us know who he is, and his bars didn't slack to do such a thing. And I know people think that we're coming down very hard on It's Almost Dry. This is the type of lyricism and direction that I guess I was expecting from somebody like a Pusha T, who had been away for 4 years and who is a respectable MC and was at a point to taking his legacy yet to another level. And I don't feel like that happened. But again, if you want to see an example of those type of things and being able to give people everything on the album, the Ransom's album, that's a blueprint for it. And I can see why people are saying album of the year.
He shares this with Pusha T in common. They both, when they become revealing, and Ransom did an excellent job of becoming revealing on here. They're excellent at being steely while doing it. When I say steely, like without losing their face card, they still are who they are. Their vulnerability really doesn't show even in their vulnerable tone and in their vulnerable moments. They're very steely characters. And so Ransom did a very good job of expressing his emotions without losing any of his face card
Yep.
and maintaining a extremely high level of lyricism. So he's doing a few things interwoven as this album like plays out that quite frankly it is brilliant. It really, really is. It's one of the more impressive mic performances, quite frankly, like in the last like 5 years or so. Like I know you and I talk about like how everything pretty much has been since Kendrick's last album came out.
Mm-hmm.
Coincidental enough, we'll be getting to that next week, I believe.
Yeah, next Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna be talking about it leading up to that, but yeah, next Friday is gonna be our Kendrick show.
Yeah. So this Ransom project is one of those albums that, since the Damn project, you could say lyrically is like a supreme effort that can be measured up against other top-notch lyrical efforts, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's saying something. Like I think Captions, his verse on Captions, that could possibly be the rhyme of the year. He's got a lot of rhyme of the year contender stuff on here. Overnight Success. I love Compromise, Redemption, Imperial Glaciers. It's really well put together. I would say production-wise, when the production is not like above average or phenomenal, where it is missing, it's very like what I would call like a Take It in Blood, like where the lyricism is so strong that it still makes the record sound great, even if the beat isn't always there. Like I've always told you, like Taking in Blood is one of my favorite Nas songs, but it's one of those songs that's like a great example of why he's so great. It's like the beat's not like stellar; it's a solid beat. It ain't like wow, that beat's incredible, but he's incredible on there. And so the tracks on here, beat wise, that are not incredible, incredible. So it's like, well, damn, it really don't even matter because he's just like, he's got you in such a place, and he does just a good enough job of switching up his flow. I know some people are saying he's not switching up his delivery enough on here. I don't necessarily agree with that totally. There are some switch ups and some pauses going on. He's doing some of that what Common did on like 1999 and Get Up High. There's some of that stop, stutter, go flow going on. And he's gotten a little bit better at like weaving and piecing his double entendres together a la Jay in terms of making them sound more seamless in the transition. So somebody even at his age and at his stature as an MC, like showing that type of improvement and segue is really, really impressive as well. I have nothing but like really high regard for this project.
007 with the super chat says, I wish Game treated that like a Nas or Jay feature. Cool track, but he could have been better. Oh yeah, the album is a 4.6 out of 10. And make sure y'all do a 96 and 01 yearbook. Yeah, that'd be cool. We down to do that. Vincent Hughes with the super chat says, Mike, get out of my head. 4 tracks in the Ransom's album, and I thought to myself, content-wise, this is some of what I wanted from It's Almost Dry. And again, I hate to bring up that, but I mean, everybody seems to be very critical of our critiques of It's Almost Dry, like we're not Pusha T fans. We're huge Pusha T fans. We've been talking about Pusha T since we started this podcast because, I mean, he's coming off of Daytona. Classic effort. And I think that the shortness of Daytona was one of those things that it kind of helped mask the, you didn't want more from the subject matter because it was 7 tracks, right? But when you extend that play and then you're coming off of an effort like that, and not to mention you're coming off of a 4 years that was pretty much action-packed personally or whatnot, and people saw a lot of that, just from the outside looking in, you expect to get a little bit more than just Coke talk. You sent me an interview that Push did, and Push's done a whole bunch of interviews, but it led me to a podcast that was on Spotify. I forgot what it was called, but they were talking about Coke rap being a subgenre and all this stuff. I don't like that, man. You know what I'm saying? Hip-hop is hip-hop. Yeah, like I don't like that, man. Hip-hop is hip-hop, and this is the thing with Push. He's better than just some Coke rapper. And
Hold
I
on.
don't like the fact that they embraced that. That was one of my critiques of It's Almost Dry. But yeah,
So it's like a coke rapper different than like a pill rapper, different than a weed rapper. Was actually
exactly.
my
I don't
question.
know. I don't know.
That's very problematic.
I don't know. Again,
And
who gives these titles?
is conscious rap a subgenre?
No.
So then what are we
No.
doing?
No.
Okay.
You know, the only thing that I say when it comes to subgenres, if you wanna separate sonics, I'm fine with that. And that's why I've always said trap music was more about a sound as opposed to a subject matter. Because if
Yeah.
it's a subject matter, is Biggie a trap rapper? Is Reasonable Doubt a trap album? If it's subject matter,
Is the Purple Tape a trap album?
exactly. Now, if you want
Yeah.
to separate sonics, cool. But we're not about to start making subgenre for, like you said, coke rap, pill rap, weed rap. Cut it out.
Right.
Anyway, anyway, the versatility of this Ransom album, again, man, this is what we ask of our MCs, and I think that Conway did a really good job of that this year as well. But when we talk about the bar work, I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is a bar performance on par with Conway's From a King to a God.
I thought about that. But it's not.
I don't think it has the versatility of a king from a king to a god. I think that I would put Conway slightly ahead on that project over this, just based on production and his ability to be versatile over a lot of different stuff. I mean, you had a Murder Beats track on there, you had Dej Loaf on there. Everything was seamless, but it was reminiscent of that for me.
No, it definitely had some from a king to a god vibes. Even the tone. I actually thought, you know, especially when he was speaking on overnight success, you forget how long Ransom's really been. Like, I don't know about you, Mike. I found out about Ransom maybe. I mean, I can say, has it been 20 years ago now? Because it feels like it
It's been
damn
that
near.
long?
I don't know. Like I'm not even sure because I feel like I feel like I heard about him at least 15 years ago, Mike.
Like
You
around the
know?
Saigon era and stuff?
Yeah, like I really do. And so when you look at where the game is kind of like shifted to, he's one of those dark horse candidates that you really can't discount, you know, because where hip hop exists, the realm that it's existing in right now for the time that it exists in, is perfect for guys like him to put out their best work and gain like notoriety and stature. So I actually really enjoyed Game's performance because it was good to hear somebody major attached to him that wasn't like from the New York area.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Somebody like from outside that East Coast super lyrical, bar heavy aesthetic region was like, no. I get down with Ransom.
And you know what? The game doesn't do a whole lot of features either. So I've always thought that was interesting too. I mean, outside of like the Compton album, or he was on Russ's project, you don't really hear Game feature as much as you would think you would because of so many features that he actually has on his projects. It's not like it's ever reciprocated. So whenever Game is on a project, I always think it's interesting. Damian Jones with the super chat says, "Have y'all heard that Jay-Z's working on a new project produced by Swiss Beats? I'm not feeling it, but we'll see."
First of
Haven't
all,
heard that.
that's first of all, that's not how that went. It said he's been spotted out with Swiss Beats. Doesn't mean that they're recording projects.
That's how
together.
rumors get started.
Like that's what I'm saying. Look, listen. Nas was standing right next to Swiss Beats this past summer, spitting the bars to verbal intercourse. Swiss was nowhere to be found on KD1, KD2, or Magic. These guys are not like, well, they've known each other since they were very young men too. You know.
Yeah.
So sometimes they might,
might be spotted out.
Yeah, they might kick
doing
it.
a brunch on Sundays or something.
Yeah, they might be in the area in the circumference of each other and pull up on each other.
Shout out to 007. He says 4.6 out of 5 on Ransom. Sorry. Kenny coming with the double album. Problematic. Being on a sideline for so long and putting out so much material is risky business. I said that too. We're going to get to that.
Yeah, we are. Because, I have some thoughts about that too. Because I think, we're going to have, once again, he does a great job of giving us the opportunity to contextualize him, with some legends, because it's like, well, most people, like I would say about wouldn't you say that like 75 to 80% of the climate that have come out with double albums have been what you would deem hip hop legends?
Oh yeah. I mean, well, there's some people who did it that weren't, but on a major level, you know.
Right, but wouldn't you say about 70 to 80
I would
percent?
say
Yeah,
the notable projects.
notable, because I mean,
Yeah.
because even when you look at it, it's like, well, is Master P a legend the way that like Nas and Big and Pac are? Well, it's like, no,
I
but is
mean,
he
I
a
think he's a
legend? It's like,
legend for other
yeah,
things.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That TRU, wasn't that TRU a double
That was
disc
a
though?
double. But I mean, again, I think that with Master P,
Yeah.
we got used to getting a lot of material from him anyway. Clayton is asleep with the $10 super chat. Shout out to you. He said, I know I'm early for Black Star, but I got to go to work. Just wanted to say 2 tracks I'm loving so far. My favorite band and Supreme Alchemy. Great record. Love y'all. Have a blessed day. You know what? Come back and check out the rebroadcast. We about to get into that Black Star because there's a lot to talk about with that.
Those songs are flawless victories. He's right. Those
All right. What are you rating this Ransom at this point?
I think I'm with most people. My initial thought after hearing it the first time was a 4.5 easily. Like I don't say 4.5 easily too often. And so my continuous listening of it, because I think I've heard it at least 7 or 8 times now.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with the 4.75. I am.
I think
I'm
that
okay.
the production brings me to a 4.5.
Right.
You know, I think that if I were to be critical on anything, it would be the production. And maybe my ears are all fucked up after hearing Madlib do a whole album. I don't know. But so yeah, that, and then, you know, as far as, like I said, if I'm lining this up with From a King to a God, the versatility on From a King to a God makes me feel like there could have been a little bit more room sonically for those things. But again, all of my critiques are sonically. It's not him because he's
you're
doing his
right.
thing.
I think From a King to a God, we gave it a 4.75. I feel like this probably a step below, so I'm cool with somewhere between like a 4.5 to a 4.6 with it. How you feel?
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
I would rest on a 4.5, and maybe we can, you know, get it up by the end of the year, possibly, just seeing how it ages.
Yeah, we'll see. But I mean, we are clear about this. This is better than the Currency and Alchemist project continuance.
I think so.
This is better than Conway's God Don't Make Mistakes.
Yes.
This is better than Benny's Tana Talk 4.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just making these clear because we're marking it down. Because I'm going to tell you something. Can I tell you something quick? And this is a very, very brief sidebar. There have been already enough quality projects right now at this point in the year, Mike, for me to stop and create a top 20 album list for the year.
That's insane. And it's only May.
It's May.
And Kendrick ain't even dropped his double album.
That's what I mean is it's like, no. Hip hop is fine. Like I'm looking at like literally over 20. Like I'm looking at the projects right now, Mike, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, are we going to have to like, a top 20 list like might be a problem breaking our top 20 list.
And we haven't even rated Czarface yet.
No, Mike, we haven't listened to
I listened to a little bit of that today. That shit's heavy. We're going to talk about that Friday, by the way.
We still haven't rated the Action Bronson 2, the Cypress Hill, the Czarface. What did we give Love's album? Did we rate Self Love 2?
We didn't rate Self Love 2 yet.
Yeah, we need to rate it. We still need to rate Fife's album.
Yep.
Earl Sweatshirt's album, Sick, we still need to rate.
Yeah. We need an extra day.
We do. What did we give the Dreamville album?
That was more of a mixtape. Hold on, let me get to the super chat real quick. King Holly says, can y'all review Galvin's album? Start with her first album, From the Art, $5 each album. Y'all review, couldn't link her Spotify here, so I'll post it in the chat. Yeah, post it in the chat or send it to the email address, info@accordingtohiphop.com. What were you saying?
I just heard somebody giving me more work to do.
DeCarlo asked about Elzai's album. We loved Elzai's album, actually.
Elzai's album's dope, too.
Yeah.
We never rated Dirk's album. Deontay Hitchcock did that Every Day the 14th EP we didn't rate.
You got a spreadsheet with all this stuff, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get to all of it.
Yeah, we're gonna
Because
get
you
to
know what? This is going to make 2022's yearbook even more incredible.
this is shaping up to
2021's
be
yearbook was super dope
this
because,
shaping.
again, Nas had a breakout year, hitting niggas over the head with two damn near five tape piece album, 5 out of 5 albums, 5-star albums. I'll just put it that way. I mean, it's crazy, among other things that happened. But yeah, and then 2020, I think that was just a breakthrough hip hop year. Period. It was a great way to start off the decade musically. Um,
This hold on, this is just as good a start to a rap decade as any.
I
I
agree.
think probably because if you think about it, it's like if you look at it musically, this 1990, 91, 92, is this better than 90, 91, 92
Of
musically?
course it
Overall,
is.
I think
I
so.
think it is.
Is it
Um,
better than 2000? I was actually going to 2000, 2001, 2002. It's like, no, but this is
collectively, yes, this
comparable
is better.
it's
Yeah.
comparable to that. It might be better than that in the long run.
No, collectively, this is better than that.
Right. It's definitely better than 2010, 11, and 12.
Yeah.
So we might be looking at like the best start off to a decade in rap's, brief tenure.
And you know what? I'm glad that we're here for it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that the people are here for it with us. You ready to get to this Black Star album?
Are we going straight to Black Star?
I think so, man. We got like 182 people in the room. Might as well.
We might as well. Hold on. Where are we settling with the ransom at? We going 4.6 or we going 4.5?
Let's go 4.5 and let's see how it ages over the next few, months or so.
I just need to know so I can mark it down so we don't have too much stuff floating out here. We already got enough floating out.
we want to be concrete about it. Shout out to 007 again with a super chat. He says, sorry to be, check the tape. I said 2022 will be a special year for hip hop. Jay-Z has come outside, and I suspect ghostwritten raps from Drizzy. Listen, man, until we get the news that Jay is actually coming with something, I need more information. Listen, I'm going to be honest, man. As a Jay-Z fan, you could even say stan to a degree. Not really excited about any new music from Jay-Z.
I think I'm more excited than you are.
Because the last thing that we got from him was 444. We got Everything Is Love with Beyonce, the Carters, if you want to count that. And before that, you got one.
I don't for his sake. I don't for his sake want to count that, Mike. We shouldn't count that because you want to know it. Like, I don't be.
Okay, so are we counting Jay Electronica's album?
Well, he doesn't count that.
He doesn't. He didn't even put his name on it. So it's like. And you know what? And the other thing that's been underwhelming about Jay recently is his features, man. Like, Neck and Wrist was cool, but
like I told you, Neck and Wrist is a solid verse from Jay. It's not like, okay, it's not like he set the world on fire with that verse. He did what he did well on it. It's not. I mean, listen to Ransom's album and tell me like
exactly. This is the thing, man. In years past, Jay has been able to kind of coast with features because nobody in his realm or with his work ethic was actually putting out efforts. But now it's a different game. And then when Nas dropped KD2 and Magic last year and about to drop KD3 and drop KD1 the year before that, these features just ain't enough. It ain't. It just ain't. Your 16's not gonna beat an album. It's not.
Not when the albums are like classic. No.
Nah. And I think this is our uncharted territory for him as well. But if he's really gonna come,
it's uncharted territory for hip hop in general. I'm sorry for interrupting you. It's uncharted territory for hip hop. That's what I mean. Is like kind of what we're covering with what Nas is doing. It's like, well, we ain't never really been in this situation as a hip hop community no more. Nobody like running on 50 is like running around making classic albums with like a dude that's like 15 years younger than, you know what I'm saying?
And then you got guys like Freddie Gibbs that are in stride, guys like Benny in stride, Conway's in stride, Westside's dropping crazy. And I mean, he's able to drop at least two projects a year of quality. And it's like, okay, where do I fit in this? I'm not gonna if I jump in, I got to do something super special. You can't come in with one of those holy grails now.
Yeah.
You can't. You
No,
can't even come
hey,
in with a
you
444 now. And people out here trying to spread the propaganda, at least Charlemagne the God's out here trying to spread the propaganda, that 444 is a classic. You're going to have to prove why it's a classic. Actual individual songs make albums a classic, not just because the nigga who made it's a legend. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to get to that in a minute too when we talk about Eminem. But the person that makes an album doesn't make the shit a classic. The music itself on the album makes it a classic.
More or less.
Boldy James is out here running around. It's a different game out here. And I hope Kendrick understands that too when he drops what some people might think is going to be a Speaker Box Love Below type of double album. Are we ready to go to Black Star?
Only if you're done, Mike. I mean, I'm gonna let you finish.
I haven't even started ranting yet, man. We haven't even gotten to the Hall of Fame part of the show.
I have no idea what type of mood Mike is in today. Y'all don't know.
Oh, man, I've had some Red Bulls. I've been listening to Tribe all day and Public Enemy. So, and a little bit of Ice Cube.
Oh, this is great. It's about to be great.
Black Star, I was listening to them today, too. They dropped their first album in 24 years. They dropped it on Luminary. So a lot of people are wondering where they can actually get the album. Coop and I talked about it. We were like, look, man, we have to listen to the album because we got to talk about it. And it's $4.99 for the monthly subscription. You have to have a Luminary subscription to actually listen to the album. I had no problem with the $4.99 I spent. I think this album was well worth it. And there's other podcasts on the Luminary platform. Now, they didn't pay us to say any of that. I'm just saying. But Black Star's album, no fear of time.
Hold on, Mike, and let's clarify. I purchased separately from you to make sure that we were both in support of it and not.
Oh, definitely. Right. You know, I guess I want to go ahead and get this part of it out of the way. You know, there was an NPR interview that Talib was talking about that part of the process, and he said some things that I disagree with. He said that it doesn't. He was addressing the reason why it's on this platform, and I think the interviewer at NPR, she asked him, you know, do you basically feel like you're sidestepping your progress by, you know, not putting it on streaming platforms, just based on the accessibility of it, because that's where everybody is, and that's where everybody accesses their music from. And Talib was like, it doesn't matter what the fans want, it matters what Black Star wants. And listen, and the part that got me too is when he was like, fans coming up to him saying that they were buying the first Black Star album. He was like, him and Mos didn't see any of the money from that went to Universal. Now, there's a whole lot of problems I had with that. Is number one, that, you know, you can't knock the fans. And, you know, I think that the fans, it is about the fans, number one, because without the fans, you're just making music for yourself. I mean, without you guys here talking with us and supporting this show and supporting this machine, it's just me and Coop sitting here talking. And, I mean, we had a situation, similar, we're not Mos Def and Talib, but we had a situation similar to this a couple of weeks ago when we wanted to change the time. But the time wasn't conducive to the rest of the fans, so whatever the fans want, I mean, that's what keeps this show running, so we do what you guys want. You know what I'm saying? And I think to say something along the lines of what the fans want doesn't matter is very off base. I understand where he was coming from. There's a better way to say that. Just say that, look, if you truly want to support your artist, this is how you do it. You don't have to sit there and say what the fans want doesn't matter. I think the fans want to support you because at the end of the day, those fans that went out there and bought that album that you say the money went to Universal, those same fans went to your shows. They supported you in other ways that directly benefited you. They went out there and followed your podcast, followed you on social media because of those things. So to act like because whatever contract you sign, the money that they put down went somewhere else is their fault, I think is very off base.
A lot of it is off base. That's not too startling. Giving the person who is, expressing and giving us this information.
I think he has a bad habit of lashing out at fans, and I think that's very misdirected.
Well, that's exactly actually something that I wanted to highlight. Thanks for kind of like helping me connect that dot. It always seems like he places his fan base and Black Star's fan base in the middle of his label and music business issues. And it's like, no, that's not a problem with your fans or fan base or Black Star fan base. That's a problem with you, your lawyer, your accountant, your business manager, and how those affairs get handled. Right. And this is just one of those things, and I hate this, and it's sad to say, it's like, well, how many times do we have to hear this story in hip hop about people not getting paid, Mike, before like young Black men who are astute and forthright, as somebody like Talib is, and take some business classes, or maybe hire somebody who has before you sign these contracts, so that you're not in these situations where you're literally blaming the fans for checks that you don't receive, when really like that has to do with your business management handling and practices. And I can understand, as a young Black man who's made a ton of financial mistakes, Mike, I made a ton of financial mistakes in my life, and it's because I wasn't educated properly. And it wasn't until I started educating myself properly that those things began to change. So I can understand what it looks like, but you can't sit up there and keep blaming the fans for, like, quite frankly, for what you weren't aware of, privy to, uneducated on, didn't handle your motherfucking business properly.
The fans did everything they were supposed to do.
Correct.
They went out there and supported the music. The music that was presented to them.
Right? They called that first album classic, and I still don't think it's a classic. The way that this album just played is part of the reason why I don't think the first album's a classic.
Okay, we're going to get into the actual album. Let me get to the super chats real quick. Vincent said 444 is not a classic. If Jay comes outside, he needs at least an American Gangster. I totally agree with that. Jay Short with the super chat says, I know y'all have to review the Black Star, but I feel like you graduated from hip-hop, then you shouldn't be let on campus, especially if you're telling the media you're bored or restricted by rap. I think that, again, it's very misdirected when you're coming at the fans for things that they're just trying to support, man. Like, and I think even with the Luminary situation, a lot of people had, their own opinions. I even had my opinion about, possibly doing a pop-up shop or whatever. I don't really have a problem with how they did this rollout. I get it after hearing the album. I think it's worth that subscription. Whatever deal they worked out with Luminary, that's fine. That's on them. But again, to lash out on the fans when this album is released, just be like, look, we don't get paid from that, and that's fine. It's what it is. But here is your opportunity to support us with fresh new music. And honestly, you know what? It's worth it, because this group sounds like a whole new group. I mean, 24 years later, I think anybody would be a whole new artist, right? Madlib, I would say, is the MVP of this album, me personally. Talib showed the fuck up on this album. He did his thing on here. He sounds great over Madlib. I don't think I've really heard Talib over Madlib like that. Not continuously. And Mos Def, he sounded like sonically and approach-wise, he was probably the catalyst of this whole thing coming together the way it did, and the vision part of it. Mos Def's pen game is special, man. And I say that because his inflection and all that's not where it once was on the previous Black Star album, but his pen is so awesome that he's otherworldly to me, man. I've said this on shows before. Mos Def's one of the most naturally talented MCs I've ever heard in my life. And once again, this proves it. And this album, from beginning to end, it's awesome. I want to see some visuals for it. And I love the fact that there's an album out there that people actually have to pay for. And everybody doesn't have access to. But I'm glad that it's at this quality, right? Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Because if I would have spent $4.99 and it was subpar, I would have been disappointed. But it's a risky game you play. And I think they won that risk.
I agree. So all of your sentiments and mine almost echo each other. Now, let me tell you the only other times where your sentiments and mine, because literally, Mike, all of your notes line up with all of my notes. I think I just had details about the notes that you just provided. And so we're going to get to that in a second. Okay. But I just want to say, just to kind of put this album in context, I think the only time that you and I had pulled up to this show and rated an album and where the notes matched up about how we felt about the album from beginning to end and even down to the notes was Pray for Paris and Magic.
Yeah.
Now, what does that say about this project?
So I think KD2 as well. I know KD2 I was taken aback when I heard it.
You were more taken aback than I was. I was more like coronation ceremony time.
Yeah.
But let's go to some of your specifics of some of your
Hold up. Before you get to that part, let me get to these super chats real quick. So, because I want to hear all of the extensive notes you have for this project, because it's a beautiful project. Jason says, fellas, to my peeps in the chat, like the show to help more visibility of the show on YouTube. People need to know about this show. I appreciate that, Jason. Yes, everybody hit that like button so the visibility goes up. Hit that subscribe button if you hadn't already subscribed to this show. Ray Rims with the super chat says, do Black Star, Kendrick Lamar, and Andre 3000 have the same manager? If so, he could care less about the fans. That's funny. Andre sends notes to Rolling Stone. Okay, go ahead.
So, actually, with my notes, I want to kind of start with what I sent you when I heard this the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I said, this is masterful. I said, this is a great production job by Madlib. And then after that, Mike, I texted you. I said, they kind of put some pressure on Kendrick low-key because this style of music that they just made is in his type of pocket, and they delivered in a major way on every level. And so let's talk about the levels, and let's start with your and my MVP. My first note about this album right under the rating for it is Madlib is the MVP.
Madlib is in the running for producer of the year right now, too.
Madlib's the producer of the year right now. This production job is stellar. Mike, this is what I would call, and I couldn't think of anything else to call it, but futuristic boom bap. It's futuristic boom bap. It's next level. It's like they're like swinging for they're like swinging for Mars and like hitting Jupiter production wise, like on this. Like it's out of space and it's beautiful. The backdrops, just everything about it is masterful.
You know what Yassine Bey kind of reminded me of on here? I saw little remnants of Doom, of MF Doom, just because working with Madlib, obviously, Yassine is a big MF Doom fan anyway. I'm sure he studied a lot of Doom to, work with some of Madlib stuff. Or maybe it organically happened because he's a Doom fan, but you know what I mean?
It's got some of the quirky genius that Mad Villainy does production-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Like you hear some of that quirky genius that Madlib is capable of. You hear some of that on Pinata too.
Mm-hmm.
So like he has those moments. But here's what I would say to all of that, and even to those comparisons. this sounds even like some next shit from that. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
This even for that, and even for those comparisons, and they're insightful and they're accurate, it still is not doing an appropriate job of, like, quite frankly, expressing the zone that this guy got in, like beat wise, because he did. I mean, I'm going to say this like kind of tongue in cheek. Well, he got the best out of both of these guys at this stage, and I don't know what other producer could have done that too. He's the MVP on a few levels. Because, well, let's go to this. You were talking about Talib. Well, here's my insightful note about Talib. He's actually as polished as ever on this album. Him as you see, he's never actually sounded this polished, this articulate. Vernacular-wise, he is toggling back and forth rhyme-wise the way Mos actually used to. Mos is more of the soul of this album. Talib is the spitter on this album.
Yeah.
He is the spitter on this album, and he sounds wonderful. Madlib has brought out the best in Talib on this album. This is his best mic performance, in my opinion, like as far as hearing him on one project, and that includes Train of Thought. And that definitely includes the first Black Star album, which is not as good as this album.
This album is better than the first Gangstar. I'm not Gangstar album. This is better than the first Black Star album.
It is. The first Black Star album has maybe like 2 songs that are better maybe than everything on here. But after that, it's all this album. You understand what I'm saying? Like, after that, it's all this album. Like, this is next level shit that we're hearing from them. And
you know what I loved about this? Not to cut you off.
Mos Def to work on a Black Star album. Madlib got Mos Def to work on a Black Star album and to, like, get like, and this is what I had down about Mos, Mike. Mos is thoughtful and insightful on this album, but it's with clarity. He's always thoughtful and insightful. But sometimes he's all over the goddamn place, and it's hard to hear how thoughtful and insightful he is. It's like Madlib. That's what I'm saying. It's like, well, they're swinging for the Mars, but running to Jupiter. But it's like, well, they're not running so far that you can't see him with the telescope. Like, Mos is running just far enough that you can see him. And a lot of that has to do with the construction of Madlib's production on this album. It's masterful.
Ray Reynolds with the super chat says, sonically, the Black Star album is album of the year thus far. Edging out Self-Love by Love the Genius, and the Elzai album, and Georgia Ann Mudrow. Look, this is what I love about this album. I love the fact that it wasn't reminiscent rap. I didn't know what I was going to expect to hear, but usually when, you know, a group comes back together or they took a long break, you hear about what they used to do, what they used to mean to the game, what hip-hop used to be like. It's none of that. Like you said, this is some other shit. Like, this is on some futuristic, well, they're damn near a whole new group. This ain't even the same group.
This is a whole new group.
I love it.
We're going to talk about them all time as a duo, because here's what they do have. Well, they have 2 definite stellar projects under their belt. Okay? Yeah. Like that's definitely for certain. I don't even know where you want to get into the highlights of this album.
Let's get to the highlights of this album. I don't have the track list up because I couldn't.
Got it.
You got the right. No, I got the track list here, but I don't have it on the screen where people can see it because, you know, it wasn't really available at a lot of places. But go ahead. Go to some of your highlights.
The Sweetheart, Hard, Sweet Odd. Yeah, that's beautiful, Mike. They need a visual aid for that. The Sweetheart, Sweetheart, Sweet Odd, that needs a visual aid.
Yeah.
Right now.
No. For me, right now. I think So Be It needs a visual aid.
To be honest with you, I thought after hearing it about the 3rd or 4th time, I was like, well, the whole thing actually needs a little mini movie visual aid player from beginning to end, putting the songs in sequence, but making it kind of like Streets is Watching futuristic style, like where you kind of play the songs through, but it tells kind of like some sort of story. That's actually what I thought. My favorite band, the main thing is to keep the main thing might be like that's the Black Star song on this album where it's like, well, that's the Black Star that people know and love, that is kind of like updated and not antiquated at all. You know, it's like, well, that's the grown man version of those B-boys that you heard that were younger men, you know, and it's beautiful. I think we all know what Mos is doing on Yonders.
Yeah, man.
Like we all know what Mos
Bananas.
is doing on Yonders, and that's no disrespect to Talib because Talib comes off extremely nice on Yonders.
There's so
But
many
when you're talking about
quotables on this whole album, man. I
no,
think,
it's an album full of quotables. So is Ransom's album. But when
yeah,
you're talking about that pen game, Mike, Yonders is what you're talking about when you're talking about Mos pen game.
it's one
When
of the
I'm talking
best rappers I've
about,
ever heard in my life.
like when he starts talking about how the devil be running because he's the devil be running because he can smell me coming. Like when he
Yeah.
starts doing stuff like that,
Yeah.
no, you can't.
Shit is crazy, man.
You can't. No, you don't.
Yeah, man.
Supreme Alchemy. Like Mike, this is why I feel the way I feel about this album. This is like I don't know what the best song is, but I know there's a bunch of them. Supreme Alchemy, the Frequency joint with Black Thought. I mean, Black Thought has a Rhyme of the Year candidate verse on here. It's the only guest appearance on there, really. And look who they invited to the party. And he does what he usually does when he gets invited to the party. He shows out on everybody, and that's including these guys. It's a beautiful project. It's the album of the year, and I want people to understand something too. You know, a lot of people pull up on me and you and say that we take things personally and we're biased. Now, personally, I like almost nothing that Talib does, and as far as work ethic is concerned, he's not Kendrick Lamar or Andre 3000, but Mos is definitely in the wheelhouse. That don't change shit about how great this album is. You feel what I'm saying?
100%.
This album is brilliant.
It is. And
It is.
I don't know what else to say about it. And I think it's album of the year so far. I'm just going to say that.
No question of that.
I'm sorry. I had to block somebody that was in the chat. They were all off subject, talking about Desert Storm and all this stuff. I don't know what they were talking about. Yeah.
You know, post-traumatic stress disorder is real.
I got this as album of the year so far. It's got incredible replay value. I've been listening to it all today and yesterday. I don't know if it's a psychological thing when you go and actually spend money on an effort when you're usually just able to stream things whenever at will. I don't know if that's part of it too, but sonically this album's worth it. And I just hate that it took this long. But see, with them, maybe because they've been out here as individuals, I don't look at this as like I've been waiting 24 years for this. Because we've been getting collaborations from them ever since. Now, if for whatever reason, let's just say Andre and Big Boy said that, you know what, we're putting the album up on Luminary next week for $4.90 or whatever, however they want to do it, right? I think that will feel a little different because we haven't truly gotten an Outkast effort in 22 years. Now, with as far as like Mos Def and Talib, we get collaborations from them and we get individual efforts from them enough and then we only got one Black Star album, so it doesn't feel like much of a void was left. You know, you guys made a collaborative album and you went solo like immediately. And so when you talk about all-time duos and stuff, I still think they're limited in that department too, because now they got two efforts, which I think are two really dope efforts. This one, in my opinion, leans closer to classic than the first one. Now, I know a lot of people are gonna say, I mean, are you sure? You got Definition, Redefinition, Brown Skin Lady, and Respiration. Even though I still think Respiration is probably the best song that the group has ever made. But from end to end, and how far ahead this shit sounds, I think this is going to be a classic.
So listen to what I'm about to say. And this is why Madlib is the MVP. This album sounds like, well, if they don't make another album together for another 10, 15, 20 years, you have a satisfying piece of work that is going to hold over that course of time, Mike. I listened to this album again today from beginning to end 2 more times to make sure, Mike, this album,
yeah,
a 5.
I'm
out of
confident. I'm
5.
confident. You're giving it a 5.
I'm giving it the 5, Mike. It's a 5.
You know
There's nothing.
what? I'm staying at 4.75, and the only reason I'm not giving it a 5
Giving
is
it the
because
5.
Mos Def doesn't sound as enthusiastic as Talib. It's the
No,
only knock
yeah,
I have on this album. Other than that,
you
this shit
know
is a
what?
piece of
No,
work. This shit is art.
that was my hesitant point. And so let's unpack that point right quick. Mos vocally is not who he used to be. And even intent and intensity wise, not who he used to be.
Right.
On the former, as far as the intent and the intensity. Well, I can't knock him for that because, well, DMX wasn't that way, and Nas wasn't that way, and Jay wasn't that way. The intent and the intensity is not the same when you get older, so we can't knock Mos for it when we don't knock those other guys for it. When those guys become thoughtful and introspective and toned down and versatile, we embrace that. So we need to embrace that. Now, vocally, he's not where he used to be, but Mike.
But the pen game is.
The pen game is, and I think people have not heard this album enough to hear, no. He's still rhyming his ass off on here because I went and checked 2 times today just to be sure, because that was my hesitancy about giving it the 5. It's like, well, Mos isn't the Mos that used to be. Well, first of all, the Mos that used to be Mos, Mike, that's the type of guy that when we talk talent and skill-wise could have been the greatest MC who ever lived. Okay?
Yeah, as far as like having the skill set to do everything.
So we can't expect to hear that guy again. Because that guy, talent-wise, like was able to do all things. It's not fair. We don't hold anybody else and expect that of them 20 years later, you know? So it's not fair to hold them that standard. But what the standard for bars and rhymes and thoughtful and being introspective and rhythmic, and Mike, some of the bar and cadence and flow and rhyme patterns on here that he's exhibiting, it's fucking stellar, Mike.
It's advanced type of stuff. These are things that
you got to understand what he's doing too, right?
I think these are the type of things, and follow me on this. I think that if Outkast made this same exact effort, people could appreciate how advanced this shit is for what it is. I think certain people we don't expect advanced shit from. Now, Mos has given us that, you know, over the past couple of years anyway, whenever he does drop things. But I think that they were such traditionalists when it comes to the boom bap that people don't want to let them move outside of that. And when they move outside of that, there's a certain group that doesn't love that. But like you said when we were talking offline, this is like some futuristic boom bap, and I don't even know if there's even boom bap in there. It's like some rock star shit that's actually rap shit. And if Kendrick's able to make a better album than this, Kendrick's about to make a classic.
You want to know what? Listen to what I'm about to say. This is how, when I'm saying boom bap, it's kind of like, it almost feels like Dilla was there production-wise a little bit, Mike.
Yeah.
That's how stellar the production
But when you think about it, man, all of these guys were around all of those things, man. And I feel like, we're going to get into this individual in a minute. I feel like Q-Tip was in the studio, too. I feel like Kanye was in the studio, too. These guys heard this effort. This is some other shit.
Right. This is the concerted effort of all of that.
Dave Chappelle's in there, all that shit.
Yeah, it's all in there. You hear
these
it.
Forward-thinking people.
Yeah.
Yeah, this album is all of that. Q-Tip's hearing this shit in the studio. Kanye's in there. I feel like Kanye and Mos Def got so much in common, man.
Yes. Yeah. How about this? This is the album that I've been wanting Kanye to make.
No.
This is the album I've been wanting Ye to make.
Real shit.
And some of this stuff is about to hold, Mike. Like Frequency with Black Thought, that shit's about to hold. That might be the best rap song this year. Supreme Alchemy, that's about to hold. Yonders is about to hold. The main thing, to keep the main thing, it's about to hold. My favorite band, no, Mike, there's shit all over here. I'm giving it 5.
You're giving it a 5.
I'm giving it a 5.
Well, y'all hear it here first. Coop is giving Black Star's album a 5. I'm not mad at that. I'm kind of on the 4.75, but we can wait and see. But so far, let's give a quick history of all the albums that we've given a 5. We weren't online when Daytona came out.
we need to go revisionist history because we need to make a change to something because there's an album that we need to upgrade to a 5 that we didn't give a 5. And that's Alfredo by Freddie Gibbs.
Okay.
And so
Freddie Gibbs, Alfredo, 5.
That's one of the first albums that we actually rated on here live, Mike. It might have been the second or third album we ever rated on here live, actually, if memory serves.
Yeah, and it was like 3 people watching us. We appreciate all 3, too.
Yeah, we appreciate all 3 of you who were watching us rate Freddie Gibbs album, right? But I would say that Gibbs' Alfredo would be our first 5. Okay. And then shortly thereafter, it would be Pray for Paris, which would come a month later, roughly. And then it would be KD2 roughly 18 months later. And then Magic. And then this. So this would be the 5th 5.
People are saying they didn't hear the 5. Mad Max says, LOL. Y'all jocking. It's a 5 because I didn't hear it. Oh, he thinks that we're just saying that because people ain't heard it. Listen.
Oh, no. I'm not saying that. Like, I'm saying that, like, okay, so... I didn't look at it from the perspective of people not hearing it. I looked at it in the perspective of the first thing that I realized about this album is that I think it's about to hold extremely well. And that matters when you're going to call something a classic or give it a perfect rating. You have to hear something that's going to hold. I've listened to this album nonstop for the last couple of days, Mike, with no problem. That's classic stuff. Like, it's not normal to listen to an album 7, 8, 9, 10 times in the span of 2 days. Unless there's something stellar going on about the music. Unless the music is really like gravitating and grabbing you like that.
No, definitely.
It's there. Listen to what I'm saying. Madlib is the MVP of this album, and Mos Def and Talib Kweli are the guys that are rhyming. What do you think this album sounds like?
Real shit. And the only feature is Black Thought.
The only feature is Black Thought. And he might have rhyme. Look, and he is in contention for Rhyme of the Year with some of Talib's and with like 2 of Talib's verses on here, 1 of Mos's verses on here, and like 2 Ransom verses. Like it's crazy. There's nothing wrong with this album. I mean, the only thing that I can say,
the lazy flow is the only thing you can say about it. But like I told you, I think that Mos coming with that lazy flow was more so on purpose because you see people like Andre 3000 do stuff like that too, so you can pay attention to the actual words and not their inflection and get caught up in the flow or get caught up in all this other stuff because he doesn't even use ad-libs or anything. He's just telling you what it is.
Well, delivery-wise too, I don't think people... How about this? People understand how hard it is to catch every other bar instead of just the straight boom.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. When you can catch the boom, and then it, boom. No, you special.
Rigorol with the super chat says, peace, y'all. Black Star is ridiculous.
It is.
Hot. They delivered. They did.
They delivered. I'm not saying we should have to wait 24 years for it, but I am saying that when I listen to the production, it's not a question of the production is flawless. And if your critique is that Mos Def isn't the MC who could have been the greatest MC of all time, if that's the critique, then it's them sticking to the 5 because it's like, well, he's still pretty fucking stellar in relationship to everybody else out here. Like MC wise, Mos right now would still be on the back end of the top 10 of MCs based on the stuff that I heard of here. Like right now, you understand that? It's like, is he like Nas or Conway or Ransom right now? It's like, no. Well, he probably like, or even Thought, but nah, he got one step down because he's insightful and thoughtful enough, and you almost feel like with the way that he's rhyming on some of these joints on here, that if you poke at him a little bit more, that guy still exists somewhere. Like, I mean, no.
He has like one-liners on here that you're like, wow.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the one-liners take out verses. And those are some of the things that I miss from certain lyricism. It's like, he'll say something, and, I'm on live camera right now, so I'm frozen. I can't think of the one that I'm thinking of off top, but he'll say one phrase, and you're like, damn, that was deep. And then just keep going. And he did that throughout the whole album, man.
I think a very appropriate example of like his one line game, and this is what I mean. You can't expect this guy to exist anymore. The guy that did the verse on What's Beef, that's the guy that I'm talking about that could be the greatest MC of all time. Man, that guy don't exist. That's like asking Nas to rap like the guy on Illmatic and It Was Written Again. That's why what he just did with Magic is like, hold on, like that doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen. All right, so let's go
Right.
over the projects that we've given fives to since we've been on air.
Yeah.
Alfredo, Freddie Gibbs, and Alchemist.
Yeah. That's fine.
Pray for Paris, West Side Gun,
Yeah.
KD2, Nas, Magic, Nas,
Right.
Black Star,
No Fear of
No
Time.
Fear of Time.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty good five right there.
It's not personal. There's nothing personal about it. That's what I'm saying is it's like, because over the course of time, too, because remember when we rated Alfredo, we put From a King to a God slightly ahead of it because of Conway's lyrical performance, because we felt like even though Gibbs was like masterful on Alfredo, Conway was better lyrically. But the music of Alfredo has held up better over the course of the time. And when you go back and listen to Alfredo and how it plays now, and listen to how From a King to a God plays, it might be like structurally Alchemist's best project, even if beat-wise it's not his best project in terms of the organization and the composition of the songs in terms of how they flow. Alfredo plays beautifully, like, because before you know it, it's like, well, you're on baby shit, and like the record's almost over. If that's song 7, you're like, hold on, you're like, what just happened?
That's why these yearbooks that we do are so important, man. Like, you know, we're getting that feedback from the people, and we're putting this in print, and we're putting this, like, you know, in digital form, in tangible form, where you can actually go back and see these things. Actually, the description of this video, is how you can go get the yearbook either on Amazon. You get the physical one, and we got the digital copies available too. So we're giving this a 5.
Hey, and you want to know what?
Go ahead.
I don't care what type of fan that you are. It's hard for you, and this is why part of it's a 5 too. I want you to understand all of these albums that we've given 5s to. When I listen to them, I don't necessarily hear what they're doing first. I hear hip hop first, and that's even what I hear with this album for as futuristic as it sounds. It's hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question. How can you not love hip hop and be like attracted to it and addicted to it? It's like you're really a fan of it. This is one of those albums that make you love hip hop, because some of the records that just come on, it's like, no, play that. That's how I was today. I was like, because I wanted to see if I wanted to skip records.
Yeah.
I was like, no, play that. I was like, no, play that. I need to hear that again.
And I wanted to play it loud too.
No, play that again.
Yeah.
No, I want to hear that again. Like when the band plays on, when Mos come in, I was about to skip the record, and then he came in, and I was like, oh, no. I was like, I remember what he did yesterday. Play that again.
And you know what people need to understand too, and I'm sure most people who watch this show, you've been very critical of Black Star too. So for you to say these things about this album, I mean, it goes a long way. Because I was thinking the same thing. Now, actually, you heard it first. And then you told me, because I was running around yesterday, and you was like, when I got that text from you, I was kind of surprised. I was like, oh, shit, Coop likes it? Because I feel like I'm more of a Black Star fan than you are.
You are.
And so, yeah, when you were saying those things, I was like, oh, yeah.
I look at the music, Mike. It's the music at the end of the day.
The music at the end of the day. Shout out to DJ Twitch with the $20 super chat. He says, much appreciation, my G's. Your knowledge and respect for the culture is definitely needed and respected. We really appreciate that, and we appreciate y'all and y'all respect and knowledge of the culture too. That might be a good segue.
It's a 2-way street.
Yeah.
A 3-way street.
All right. That might be a good segue. You ready to talk about Eminem getting in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Not really, but we might as well.
Well, I mean, we got to.
I know.
Okay, well, Eminem is getting inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and Rolling Stone, I guess I didn't tell you about this, but I found this when I was looking through the clippings for the graphics on our for our show. Rolling Stone wrote an article. It said Eminem has now been inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame before countless black hip-hop pioneers who have paved the way for his success. What message does this send?
What?
You want me to read that again?
Yeah.
It says Eminem has now been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame before countless black hip hop pioneers who have paved the way for his success. What message does this send?
Well, hold on. Well, let's go to a couple things, because I said I was going to keep it fair. I hit my homie Andrew up, who I do the Mirror Music podcast with. And I sent him, when I saw Eminem get in, I shot him the line too, because he knows quite frankly, he's been my friend for over 20 years. He knows how I feel about this shit. And he happens to be white as well. He just happens to be, liberal, not racist, open-minded, kind, the way fucking human beings should be anyway. But he says, and this is just on the all sides of things, keeping it fair, that he got in before Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, the Dave Matthews Band, and Pat Benatar actually got in with him today, but he was saying Pat Benatar as well, and then I alerted him to the fact that Pat Benatar was inducted with him today.
Yes.
So he's getting in before white contemporaries who deserve to be in before him as well, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, so, I don't like the way, and believe it or not, guys, I don't like the way that Rolling Stone phrased that, because it's not about Eminem being white. It's about being qualified. And see, this is the issue that I had.
No, you see how they keep bringing up the whiteness, but when we bring up the whiteness, it's the issue?
Right. This is the issue I have. A Tribe Called Quest was nominated as well, and the Tribe Called Quest didn't get in. So when you talk about being qualified, their qualifications, 25 years in the game, right? Impact culturally and all of that stuff. So, Coop and I thought that we should just go through both acts in their classic material. Starting with their first albums. And, we're going to count Infinite because, for whatever reason, they counted Infinite because you have to be 25 years in the game. And if they started at Slim Shady LP, then this would have been 2024 when he would have actually been eligible for it. So, obviously, they counted Infinite. And so we're going to go. What's up?
I'm sorry, Mike. Before we do that, I actually need to talk about you and speak your praises right quick. You have caught a lot of flack for these Eminem sentiments. Now, we pulled up and we did a show and spoke about Infinite being cataloged and categorized improperly and incorrectly. And you were the first person, I don't care, you were the first person saying any sort of media channel or operation that said this is a play in a ploy to place him in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame before his time. And now look at where we are today. And people can go back to our show and document whenever it was that got changed and got categorized and cataloged differently. We spoke on it. You spoke on it specifically because you keep track of those things. And people were treating and talking about you like you were some sort of hater. No, like this is a total misrepresentation and misappropriation. We shouldn't even be discussing it because it shouldn't be happening. Like it's like I don't. It's not illegal because there's no law against it, but they are literally changing not the finish line. They're literally changing the starting point to get him in here faster.
They're literally changing the goalposts every step of the way. And see, again, it's not, and like you said, it's not about what Rolling Stone's trying to make it about. It's about the qualification of this individual in relation to others. I mean, there's other people in other genres that seem to be a little bit more qualified too. But again, when you're crossing genres, it's a little bit more difficult to actually compare. But we're just going to compare the hip-hop people, right? And again, I know many people could go, and the way they did it, they were like pioneers. Like, we're talking about, early, you know what I'm saying? We're not talking about pioneers. We're talking about a Tribe Called Quest because they were on the actual ballot, right? I do want to go through some of the catalog, if y'all want to rock with us real quick, and maybe y'all can give us a little bit of input too. We're going to go to Tribe's first album. How many classics would you say are on People's Instinctive? We got Pushing Along here. And stop me when you hear a classic song.
Hold on. I just want to, I obviously have it in my catalog. Just give me 1 second because I want to pull it up with you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I can see it. Just so I can see it if you don't mind.
Well, I'm going to put it on the screen for the people while you're looking for it. So we got Pushing Along, Luckalucian. And again, we're not just going to go on records that we like because I like this whole album.
Okay, I like Luckalucian, but I don't know if it's what's.
I don't think it's a classic, no. And I love that record. And I mean, After Hours, dope record. Yeah. Footprints, dope record.
That's a classic.
Footprints is a classic. Okay.
Yeah, Footprints is a classic. Wouldn't you say?
I love Footprints.
Yeah,
I mean, I
Footprints
think
is
I
a
might be biased. I love My Wallet and El Segundo.
That's a classic. That's the song that I remember from my childhood, actually, off the album.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Public Enemy. I love that record too. Bonita. Super classic.
Yeah, that's easy.
Can I Kick It? Classic.
That's easy.
Okay. Youthful Expressions. Rhymes. Rhythm, excuse me. Devoted to the art of moving butts. I love that record, but nah. Mr. Muhammad, Ham and Eggs. Go Ahead in the Rain. You know what? Go Ahead in the Rain is the only song on this album I don't really like.
I was thinking, what do you think of Mr. Muhammad?
I like Mr. Muhammad, but it's not a classic though. Description of Fool is my shit.
Okay.
Okay. So now let's go to Infinite. Infinite, Wago, It's Okay, Tonight, 313, Maxine. You can stop me when you hear a classic song. Open Mic.
And I went back and listened to this. Open Mic was dope.
Never Far, Searching, Backstabber, Jealous Woes 2.
Yeah.
All right. I think we can live without that. Now, let's see. The Low End Theory. Shit.
We don't.
We're going to do this.
That's what I'm saying.
Excursions.
Oh.
Excursions. I think Excursions a classic. I think Bugging Out
Every
is a
song
classic.
on here is a classic, Mike. That's what I'm saying.
This is one of the best hip hop albums ever made. Rap Promoter. I'll skip Rap Promoter. Butter. Classic.
Classic.
Verses from the Abstract. I love that record too.
You got Excursions and Bugging Out as classics, right?
Yeah, I got it. I mean, that goes without saying.
Okay.
Verses from the Abstract. Show Business. Vibes and Stuff is a classic.
I think all those songs are classic.
I'm trying to be fair here, man.
Okay, are you just being
these are songs that we love, but I'm just saying songs that like really made a dent.
Hold on. So Excursions, Bugging Out, and Butter are definitely classics. You don't think Verses from the Abstract is classic though? That's not.
I think it is personally.
It is,
but,
no, it is. That's just rap classic. Period. That's what I'm saying. That's not you. That's all of us. We're all like, I think we're all there on that. Like we should be.
I mean, are we wrong, guys? I mean, because I know people are gonna call me a hater and this and that. You know.
No. I mean, this is the Low End Theory.
Vibes and Stuff.
Vibes and Stuff is a classic.
That's a classic.
Okay. Because they were a classic, Mike.
It is.
Classic.
Check the Rhymes is a classic. Everything is Fair is one of my favorite songs, but I'm not gonna say it's a classic.
That's not a classic, but
Jazz,
that might be
classic.
That might be the record. That might be the record.
It is the record. It's my favorite record on the album.
It's my favorite record on the album too, Mike.
Scenario's clearly classic, right?
What are we talking about?
All right.
We can go to the Marshall Mathers.
Now let's go to we're going to the Slim Shady LP. This is where we're at. Hi, My Name Is that a classic?
To who? That's what I'm saying. Where does that get played?
Is that a hip hop classic? Let's say that. No. Guilty Conscience.
Yeah, I'll give it that.
Okay. Brain Damage.
I like Brain Damage, actually.
I like Brain Damage. It's not a classic, though.
It's a really dope record, but you're right.
Yeah, there's a lot of Tribe records that I skipped over that were dope records, you know. See, this is the thing. We're not going to move the goalpost, man. Like, it's either a record that made some impact or it's not. Okay. Paul, If I Had, no. 97, Bonnie and Clyde.
Bonnie and Clyde, maybe.
It's good. It's a good song, but is it a classic though? Bitch. Role Model.
Maybe Role Model.
Okay, if we're gonna put verses from the Abstract, I guess Role Model.
Yeah.
Lounge.
No.
My Fault.
Yeah. No.
Ken Caff.
That's another skit.
Yeah, another skit. Come On Everybody. I hate that song. Rock Bottom. It's a decent song, but not a classic.
No,
Just don't give a fuck.
that's better, maybe.
But classic to who? Like you said,
Classic and what? Yeah.
Soap. As the world turns. I'm
But,
shady. Bad meets evil.
no, I think that's like, isn't it getting to extended version when you do that?
Yeah. I'm trying to
Because
help.
the album ends, I think, like on the original one is like "As the World Turns" or "I'm Shady," something like that. I think the
Yeah.
original version, yeah.
Okay. All right. So
How many
now,
classic Eminem songs do we get? Are we at? Because I know we got at least like 10
so
tribes.
we're at 2 Eminem songs and 13 Tribe songs. Now we're at Midnight Marauders. So
Oh, God.
Steve, Stir It Up. I love Stir It Up. That's not a classic.
No,
Award Tour. It's kind
that's
of
easy.
Award Tour is kind of a classic.
It's easy.
8 million stories. I'm trying to be fair here. I mean, I like the song, but
We can say the 8 million stories is not like a classic, but
what about Suck a Nigga?
that is.
That is. It
Yes,
is.
it is. That's what I'm saying. They got
Midnight.
classic.
I love Midnight.
I think Midnight is a borderline classic too, Mike. I agree.
I love Midnight.
I
I'm
don't
not
know
gonna.
if that's,
You know what? If we're gonna give role model, and I think they want us to give it to Rock Bottom. If we're all right, this is what I tell you guys in the group. If we're gonna give it to Rock Bottom, Midnight's got to get it.
I just work here.
We Can Get Down. I love that record too, but nah. Electric Relaxation, classic.
That's easy.
Clap your hands. Oh my God.
Oh my God, the classic.
Oh my God, it's a classic.
Oh my God, the classic.
Keep It Rolling. It's the only song I really don't like on Midnight Marauders.
It's just cool.
The Chase. I love The Chase, but it's
Not a
not a
classic, but it's
classic.
dope.
Lyrics to Go is a classic.
Classic.
God Lives Through is a classic.
Classic.
All right. And now we're on to the album that I guess most people were waiting on. The Marshall Mathers LP. Kill You.
I think people would say that, yeah.
Kill You's a classic?
Fans of his would say that, yes.
Is it a hip hop classic, man?
I'm just telling you the way that you feel about Midnight.
Okay. If I gave Midnight, that's fair.
I feel about Lyrics to Go and the way you feel about Midnight.
You know, if I put Kill You, if I played Kill You and then I played Midnight, it would be an ugly scene. But you could have it.
Be a 187.
Right. Stan, of course.
That's easy.
Who Knew? Nah.
And
Steve,
Close but No Cigar.
Yeah, Steve Berman. The Way I Am, okay.
Yep.
The Real Slim Shady.
I don't think you're going to allow that, Mike.
I'm Slim Shady. Yes, I'm the real Shady. I'm cool on that. Remember Me. No. Good song, but it's not a classic.
No, yeah, it's just good.
I'm Back.
No.
Didn't age well.
No.
Marshall Mathers.
No.
Another skit, Drug Ballad. No. Amityville. Probably my favorite verse from him. I don't know if it's a classic.
No.
Amityville's a classic. Okay, I'm fine with that because I like Amityville.
Yeah, we can give Amityville some love.
And I refuse to give him Bitch Please too because that's not his song. I'm sorry. I can't do it.
How you feel about Bitch Please too?
Can't do that. I cannot do that.
Are we giving him Kim?
No.
But then we're not giving him Under the Influence or Criminal either, because Kim is better than those.
Man with the super chat says Tribe got way more timeless music over Eminem. Well, we're just gonna do the numbers because again,
let the music do the talking.
We're gonna let the music do the talking. We're not talking about any of the other stuff that everybody else is talking. They want to say that we're hating on such and such because of such and such. This is the music. All right, so now we're going on to Beats, Rhymes, and Life. We're just going 4 albums in, guys. Phony Rappers, not a classic. Get a Hold, classic.
You know how I feel about Get a Hold.
Great record, man.
Whew.
Motivators, nah. Jam, nah. Crew, nah. The Pressure, nah. Once again, I like the song, not a classic. See, we're being fair here.
Hold on, because I was about to say, Once Again is better than a lot of the M stuff that we call classic. I still enjoy Once Again.
I love Once Again.
It's just not, it's not award tour or, scenario or jazz.
We're moving the goalpost, sounds like, if we don't let Once Again in. Because it seems like what you're saying, and I agree with you, that if Once Again was on one of Eminem's albums, then it would have made it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how about this? If Once Again isn't on a Tribe or Outkast album, it's a hip-hop classic.
Okay. I love Once Again. I thought it was just me.
I love Once Again, too. I love Once Again.
Okay. Once Again, Mind Power, The Hop.
I like The Hop. What you think?
I like The Hop a lot, too. It's not a classic, though.
Okay.
Keeping It Moving. Baby Fife's Return.
This is where the albums really started to actually kind of like...
Yeah. Separate Together. What Really Goes On. Wordplay. Stressed Out. Faith Evans.
Maybe Stressed Out,
I like
but I didn't
Stressed
like Stressed Out. I didn't love Faith's vocals on Stressed Out. What are your thoughts?
Yeah.
I feel like she kind of mailed the vocals in.
The Eminem Show.
I feel like they mailed a lot of these tracks in.
They did.
Yeah.
Okay, the Eminem Show. Business. No.
Hold on.
Cleaning Out My Closet.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I skipped White America. No.
It doesn't matter if you skipped it.
Yeah, Business. Cleaning Out My Closet. No. Square Dance.
I like Square Dance.
I do, too. Is it a classic, though?
I don't know. Square Dance is pretty fucking dope. It is.
Okay. Soldier.
I like Soldier, but I don't think it's a classic.
It's my favorite song on this album. But
I'm about
it's
to
not
say
a classic.
there are people out here, so...
Yeah. I know the Eminem fans will want us to say it's a classic, so you know what? We'll give you that. And...
Yeah, we can give it to them because I know how people feel about the record, even though I don't necessarily feel it. But yeah.
Say Goodbye to Hollywood, no. Drips, no. Without Me, no. Sing for the Moment, yes.
Yeah, I give him that.
Superman, yes.
That might be my favorite. Superman might be my favorite. The Way I Am and Superman are probably my favorite M records.
Haley's Song, Steve Berman.
No.
When the Music Stops, Say What You Say.
I like Say What You Say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's dope.
Till I Collapse.
Yep.
Another dope record. My Dad's Going Crazy.
Actually, what do you think about My Dad's Gone Crazy?
I
mean, he took it there.
We can give him that.
Yeah, we can give him that.
That's 13. And I think most of his stuff came off of this album.
Yeah, most of it came on this album, about like half of it.
Yeah. Dumb It Down with the Super Chat says, Tribe got way more classic songs. You don't have to skip any of the Eminem dope tracks to prove your point. He has more classic songs than y'all say. Okay, what are we missing? Because by this tally or whatever, and you guys probably were counting at home as well, by this tally we got like 22-13. And I think that anybody could tell you that if we're gonna really get picky here, songs like Jazz, Check the Rhyme, songs like Bonita Applebum, Award Tour, Electric Relaxation. Eminem doesn't have records that rival any of that in the importance of this culture altogether. Correct?
He doesn't have I Left My Wallet in El Segundo.
Can I kick it?
Yes, you can.
I'm just saying. And so what we have to ask ourselves is, why exactly is somebody who is 9 years after an impactful group like this getting credence into an institution over a group whose impact is like far greater musically, and they have 9 years in the game over him? We're talking about Scenario. We're talking about the Low End Theory. We're talking about a group that created a full subgenre of hip hop meshing that whole jazz and hip hop sound perfectly. I know it were people who did it before them, but what they did on the low end theory, excuse me, that created the outcasts of the world. That created the roots. That created the lane that people like Common, Kanye, Pharrell live on. So my thing is, like me and Cooper talking about earlier, man, like, why do we even care about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame if they're gonna vote in someone who doesn't have those credentials over somebody like a Tribe? And I'm not saying that Eminem shouldn't get in there at all. What I'm saying is, you get in there when you're on the same ballot as a Tribe Called Quest, and Tribe doesn't get that consideration over somebody who they clearly have a better catalog than, and somebody who they have so much tenure over. They were retiring when he was getting in the game. They were cemented 3 classics in before he was even getting in the game. And, I don't know. It's just, it's unfortunate that people still don't see it. And again, it's not even a knock to Eminem because I think he should get in there, but there's some people who should be in there first.
Starting with the Tribe Called Quest, seeing how they were available to get put in today. So
I didn't think they were going to do it like this, Coop. I thought they were at least going to put Tribe in to make us comfortable with the fact that Eminem got in so early and the fact that they snuck him in there 2 years before he should have really been eligible in the first place.
Well, let's just call it what it is. And it goes back to some of the behind the scenes conversation, and this is what I've said on my side about the cosign and how dangerous the cosign is. Mm-hmm. And hold on. This is why I won't listen to Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak's album, even though I love Anderson .Paak. Like, this is why, because I'm not allowing any more cosigns of people who culturally appropriate us any longer. It's like I'm literally only dealing with the people who are already there. So it's like, no, I'm dealing with Eminem and Justin Timberlake and No, I'm not dealing with no new motherfuckers doing this. Like, no, because it's been going on too long. And what really needs to happen, first and foremost, to keep this from happening, and I'm going to go ahead and revisit this again properly, just so people understand. And this is what I've always tried to submit to you about how important this cosign has been. It's like, no, we invited him to the barbecue when we signed him to Unsigned Hype in The Source. We invited him to the barbecue when he signed with Dr. Dre. We invited him to the barbecue when he signed 50. We have to be very, very careful about who we choose and how we move, because this is what happens when we move in that manner. And you would think historically, like, this has been done to us so much historically, that you think that we would fucking know better by now. But apparently we don't. And so what we need to do, at least on this side, musically and culturally, is highlight how when you put a white person in America, even in a black sphere where blacks dominate, in any sort of position of influence and authority and power, the powers that be that are mostly white are going to see to it that white person or white group ascends to authority, power, acclaim, credibility, money, success, fame, fortune. Go ahead and run it down the line quicker than a fucking blackface. Let's just call that shit what it is. That is the reality of what we're dealing with. And what needs to stop happening is that people like Drake and Kanye need to stop co-signing Jack Harlow so quickly, because that's exactly how Eminem is getting inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame before a Tribe Called Quest, when the motherfucker don't even deserve to be on the ballot.
Listen, you said a lot, and we're going to get to Jack Harlow, and I agree with you 100%. And as much as I love a Tribe Called Quest, I'm a fan for life. I listen to their music all the time, but you guys need to be mad about this. And, there comes a time when we gotta.
Q-Tip need to say something.
Yeah, there comes a time where we gotta stop being the bigger man and this and that, Q-Tip needs to be mad about this. Ali Shaheed needs to be mad about this. Jerobi needs to be mad about this. Pharrell needs to be mad about this. Kanye West, 3000, Big Boy, all of you
Outkast,
guys,
D'Angelo, The
anybody
Roots,
who,
Erykah Badu,
yeah, Black
Chris
Thought,
Scott,
whoever,
yeah,
Questlove, you're the new
Black
darling
Star,
of the,
Mike
yeah,
Black Star,
yeah,
yeah,
Questlove, you're the new darling of the industry. You should be
yeah.
pissed off about this.
All of
All
y'all
of y'all.
belong to the low end theory.
And we,
Yeah,
we
all of
can't
y'all are
sit
low end
here
theory.
we can't sit here and let Tribe get fucked over. And obviously, if you don't care about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you shouldn't really. But what's done is done. And this stuff is gonna be televised and it's gonna be immortalized in this museum, whether you guys like it or not. Now granted, the Hip Hop Hall of Fame is starting, and I was talking to JT Thompson at the Hip Hop Hall of Fame today. They're breaking ground on it. It's gonna be in Manhattan. It's going to be in Midtown. They got a Hall of Fame. They're going to have an event space. They got to have hotels, residential spots. It's going to be a whole thing. And we're going to cover that. And it's on the public to make that whole thing important, too. I'm going to have some more details on that. And we'll probably have JT Thompson come on the show to talk about that further as well as that, as everything gets closer. But it's on the public and the hip-hop public to make that a more important thing than this Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But in the meantime, while this is happening, and you even see Jay-Z goes to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and does an acceptance speech, and he doesn't go anywhere. So that's adding credibility to these institutions. And so at the end of the day, I need Tribe and the people who come from Tribe to be pissed off about this. Period. Because you shouldn't take this line down. Straight up, we shouldn't be the only people mad about this because this is some bullshit. Period. LP says, with super chat, he says, Jay Dilla killed Tribe Sound, so he added consequence. Also, Cleaning Out My Closet is a classic. LOL, y'all downplaying some of his hits.
I said Cleaning Out My Closet.
Yeah, we gave him Cleaning Out My Closet. LP also says, Hall of Fame should be chronicalized with a few exceptions. How is Jay-Z in the Writers Hall of Fame before Rakim or Tupac? It's popularity based. 007 says, disregard race. When you get on the mic, you get on the mic. Eminem is a perfect example of a rapper who fell short regardless of usage of talent. Not top 5. Let the music speak for itself. Like I said, I don't care about what color you are and all that. Just be qualified. Be qualified to be nominated over a group like a Tribe Called Quest to any institution. If we talking about music in general, we talking about pop impact or whatever their criteria is. Be credible enough if you came 9 years after a group like a Tribe Called Quest to be able to trump that. That's all I'm saying. And if y'all could show me somewhere in Eminem's resume that doesn't have anything to do with his marketing and numbers and shit like that, where he should be put in before a group like a Tribe Called Quest, let me know. Some bullshit, man. But again, like I said, Cool, I've been warning people about stuff like this for 10 years.
No, Mike, you've been saying this for so long, and today is like I can't take any more of this. Like I really can't. I can't take any more of this. Like we should not even be having. I want people to understand this. We should not even be having this conversation because he shouldn't even be on the ballot. This should be a day. Listen to how this show is really supposed to.
The artists themselves should have spoke out about him even being on the ballot.
No, listen to what I'm saying. Like today's show should have been the type of glorious day where we're handing Black Star a 5, handing Ransom a 4.5, and handing Tribe Called Quest some long overdue flowers about being the reason that groups like Black Star exist.
Exactly. And rest in peace
to supposed to be playing today, but because of how things work systemically and institutionally, even within a business where the blacks generate the revenue and dominate the culture and the sound and literally every part of it until it gets to, signing fucking documents and making money and paying people and being that type of boss, including some of these people who y'all think are bosses. When it gets to that point, then you start to see who really run it. And so I want people to understand that the only way to stop shit like this is the people. The people is the only way to like stop this shit.
Yeah. And if the people stop caring about anything that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame does in regard to hip hop specifically and shift that support over to the Hip Hop Hall of Fame that is about to be erected, did I say that wrong? About to be, whatever. Y'all know what I mean. That's about to be built. That,
no, erected is what?
Yeah.
Erected is what?
It just sounded wrong. That's where change really happens. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to OG TK Cole with the super chat. He says, looking at the comments, it's always white people who say disregard race. Get out of here. I used to manage the outsiders. I know the real deal. Shout out to you, OG TK.
Right.
Tell us the real deal. You should come on for an interview.
Yeah, no. We definitely would love to talk to you.
007 says, do you blame Dre for how Eminem's viewed?
Yes. He has something to do with this.
There is no Eminem without Dre's cosign.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Being careful about the cosign and where we take the cosign, because it's like how about this? Dre should have been the main one that was like, oh no, we got to keep you on some rap shit though, like to make this solid. Like dressing up like Batman and Robin and shit. Like that's what I'm talking about. It's like, well, no, you co-sign it to the point that you end up jumping in his boat. No. He's supposed to be jumping in your boat.
Dre changed up his whole sound production-wise to fit with Eminem's style, to mask the fact that Eminem can't rap over no real hip-hop shit.
I don't believe that. That's what I'm saying. It's like, no, I believe he can rap over like phone tap and like over...
He can't make hits that way. Let me say it like that.
Okay, you could be correct in saying something with
because
that,
his audience, the people who fuck with him like that, ain't listening to phone tap.
Like Any Man is a hip hop beat. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
But it ain't no hit. Any Man's not showing up on any of his projects.
How about this? Any Man's a classic though.
I'm with that.
In hip hop terms, Any Man is a classic and more classic than most of the stuff that you'll find on his album.
No, straight up. Nas the GOAT says Eminem getting in before Nas is problematic. Sure it is. But again, we're talking about the fact that A Tribe Called Quest was actually on the ballot. Now, when Nas gets on the ballot, I mean, we'll have that conversation, and it's going to be very interesting, the fact that Eminem's in there before Nas anyway. I think they're not even just going to let Nas in.
Jay's 2 years after Nas, not before. Like,
yeah. Well-versed Sessions with the super chat. Shout out to you. So again, like I said, man, it's not a good look, and I know Eminem's probably gonna go out there, accept it, and what he's gonna do, he's gonna give all of because they're already putting it out there in the air. Rolling Stone is about him getting in before all these pioneering black artists. He's gonna go out there and shout out Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, Rakim, everybody that he should shout out. And people are going to be like, oh, it's okay. It's not okay. And again, I need Tribe to be mad about this, just like how Q-Tip spazzed out on the Grammy committee when they didn't give them that Grammy, when they told them to come out there and do that performance. Spaz on this in the same way. We got your back. Straight up. Pharrell, you need to be mad too. As much as you gush over Tribe, as we all do, you should be offended by this.
So we have these two black archetypes that we need to address, like, and they're like known black archetypes. One of them is called cool pose, Mike. That's where the black man is too cool to be concerned or worried about anything. Cool pose happens most often in hip hop. It happens way too often in hip hop. I need people to take like their cool pose off. Some of that cool pose that I'm talking about when Lupe Fiasco is talking about the cool, like the whole theme of that. Mm-hmm. Some of that is coming from the concept of cool pose. That's something that gets discussed in African American diaspora classes around the nation. The cool pose of the black man who's got a cigarette in his mouth and likes to lean a little bit when he talks, and always knows how to get the most beautiful of the women, and is always driving a nice car. Matter of fact, the guy that Bruno Mars is playing in the 24 Karat video, that's cool pose. No, that's cool.
No,
pose.
You're right.
No,
it's kind of like, it reminds me of those billboards, and I'm aging myself. You remember those cool cigarettes back in the day with the camel and all that shit?
Yeah, my aunts used to smoke cools. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's that part of this that just needs to stop so that the appropriation and the ascension the unnecessary or it's an unearned ascension. That's what it is. It's an unearned ascension that happens because of the cool pose. But here's also the other side of it. There's still that need for some reason, even in a community and in an environment where we've shown that financially we do not need white people to thrive or survive. For some reason, we still have this concept, and it's so psychologically and fundamentally broken. It's sad that I'm discussing this on a hip hop show, but we be looking for the acceptance of white people still. After all these years and all the things that have been done to us, we still create viable entities for us to make money where we actually don't need them, and we still try to find a way to include them to make more money, and we end up losing our souls in the process. And literally, W.E.B. Du Bois is talking about this in The Souls of Black Folks. That's fucking 1902. We need to do fucking better.
It's all about everybody respecting everybody in their craft. Like I said, just come through qualified. That's it, man. Like, cause let's be real. Let's be 100%.
Tell these niggas do better. Tell these weak ass niggas do better. For real.
Yeah. Cause let's keep it real, man. You know what? At the end of the day,
so real quick for a white person with some talent, it's like they'll lose all their blackness as soon as a white person with talent. Is that a person that's not black with talent? Oh, we about to sell a lot of records, make a lot of money. Let me go ahead and sign off. Where's the devil at? Let me go ahead and sign this shit. Fuck out of here.
Listen, man. If Eminem had Tribe's catalog and Tribe had Eminem's catalog, I would be fine with this decision. And that's just the bottom line.
Conversation, if that was it, the music would be there.
Yeah,
I tell people all the time. You want to know what? And I say this. If
Eminem made a war tour, Eminem made Bonita, I would be fine. If Eminem made Electric Relaxation, I'd be fine.
I say this all the time about Justin Timberlake. I'm like, well, I was like, at least he, knows how to make the record.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Gets with the right people to do it. The execution's there. Can't hate on that. Tabernacle with the super chat says, today is a great day. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is officially dead. Add another one to M's kill list. LOL. Yes, that's a good hashtag. Hashtag for all the people that follow us on Twitter.
I hate it for him, but he's just benefited from these things so much. And then we have this Jack Harlow thing bubbling where it seems like there's a concerted effort to make him the next Eminem. And to that, I say, fuck no.
No, we'll see. We've seen this game played out. And so people are kind of hip to what's going on with Jack Harlow before it really happens. Did you see that NBA playoff game? It was the Celtics game. And they had like a whole segment with the damn referees. They had the referees mic'd up talking about Jack Harlow. Get the fuck out of here, man.
No, I missed that.
Get all the way the fuck out of here. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah. They had the referees. They were mic'd up. So no. This is what happened. The referees was mic'd up, and you know how they pan to whatever celebrities in the audience. They pan to Jack Harlow, and the referee's like, "Who's Jack Harlow? Where's Jack Harlow? This and that." Come on, man. Cut it out. LP with the super chat says, it's not just them. When did BET give Rakim a longevity award? The Source gives Tribe award. The Source give Tribe an award. Vibe to KRS. Jay didn't speak out and say LL should have gone first or Tribe. It's the institutions. It is the institutions. But at the end of the day, these institutions, whoever owns them, they're ran based on the fans and the fan support. If the fans ain't rocking with a certain institution, that institution becomes decredentialized. You don't have any weight out here if the people ain't behind you. When people stop rocking with the Source like that, the Source was done.
Yep.
No matter who owned it.
When we stopped reading it and stopped trusting the reviews, it was over.
Yeah. When people stopped watching BET for music like that, it was done. Brian says, I'd appreciate a real review of Relapse. It's my second favorite Eminem album. It's creative, best production on the Eminem album. It's aged beautifully into a cult classic. Give it a chance. You'll be surprised. I like that album, actually. But again, we're grading on his scale.
I would put Relapse behind the Marshall Mathers LP and the Eminem Show, but ahead of the Slim Shady LP and Marshall Mathers 2 LP. And so
he just doesn't have a really good catalog overall when it comes to the peers that he is, matched up with.
Just more black people need to say something. See, like, and I want you to understand something is like, you remember when Little Richard used to come out and talk about how everybody stole from him and it came off as bitter?
Mm-hmm.
That's because the media allowed it to come off as bitter.
Exactly.
It wasn't bitter. Stop letting the media and quite frankly, black men in positions of authority and power in this business who you should not trust. Like, I love Dr. Dre as a music producer, but it's like, I don't give a fuck if we get invited to like any Interscope brunch or any Rock Nation brunch, because it's like, I can look at you niggas' track record. It's like, oh, well, you ain't really the type of nigga I'd like to fuck with like that anyway. How about that?
We're not here for that. You know what I'm saying? We're here to talk about hip hop and be honest about it. Like, there's people who get behind these microphones and they want to build up their following, build up their subscribers so they can get invited to a brunch or some shit. We're not here to do that. If you want to invite us to a brunch based on what we do and you want to talk some real shit, cool. But we're not here for that kind of clout. We're here to talk to the people and talk about these conversations that we have privately, publicly, because they need to be talked about. And I hate the fact that, some of our legends are so humble in the fact that they're going to let people just steamroll over them. And that's one of the reasons I love Kanye. Kanye does not let you sit there and take away from his accomplishments.
Hold on. So that's that other part of it. And I say this as a Christian, Mike, and I say this as somebody raised in the South and raised Baptist pretty much for the most part. And I'm going to say this carefully. Like, I ain't one of those, oh, there's going to be a brighter day, turn the other cheek Christian Mikes. I'm one of them Christians that's kind of like Mike, the disciple Peter cut off this dude's ear one time. I'm one of them type of Christians. Like, fuck with me if you want to.
I mean, you kind of got to be.
Like, and that's how some of these black men need to start behaving in this. Like, it'd be funny how people be talking like all this gangster, like all this tough talk. And then when it's like really time to be a gangster, which is about your money and about your legacy, they be on some old humble pie, super religious, like,
that's right.
I'd be like, no, where the gloves at?
Right. We gangster in every other standpoint. Put the thumbs up in the chat, man, so more people can see this live, because we getting real live right now. DeCarlo, yeah, I meant Recovery. I didn't mean the Relapse. I didn't like Relapse like that. Recovery was the album. Ryan Gillum with the super chat says, I'd rather listen to Iggy Azalea before I listen to Jack Harlow. We're gonna get on Jack Harlow in a second.
Was Recovery the one where he had like the cover was like all the pills coming together to make like an image of him, or was that Relapse?
Nah, I think Recovery was the one where he was walking away. Relapse was the one where he had all the pills.
Okay, so Relapse is the one I'm talking about. Production wise, that was really
well,
solid.
I'll go back and listen to both of them, man. But when we talk about hip hop music and people who move the needle, we shouldn't even have to be this confused about his catalog. Now, you guys listen to us week to week, bi-weekly or whatever. We know a lot about a lot of hip-hop music, right? And the fact that we're confused about Eminem album covers lets you know how much of a dent this shit made in the culture. Very little.
No, so, and also understand, so listen to the whole narrative. Remember what happened when Snoop was like, and you brought this up to me behind the scenes, Mike. Remember when you told me, how Snoop caught flack when he's like, I can live without Eminem's music?
Exactly.
He's being honest.
Snoop older than us. We all feel like that.
He was raised on Rakim and NWA
Slick
and
Rick
and Slick Rick. Like, he don't listen to Eminem. He don't.
We were just talking about this. Listen to him. We were just talking about this last episode or 2 episodes ago. I hate the fact that Doggy Style and The Chronic isn't on my streaming platforms anymore. I miss it. I need that. If all the Eminem shit went away, I'd be okay.
Told you.
I would never miss it. I would never miss if the Marshall Mathers LP I could never stream it again. I'd be fine with that. But yes, again, man.
Hold on 1 second, Mike. I'm listening. But go ahead.
I was just gonna say, man, we need our legends to step up, and I would love for a Tribe Called Quest to say something about this, because honestly, man, it's gone too far at this point. And everybody in the chat, man, we need you to put the thumbs up, man. We're going to actually move on to the next subject in a second. What were we about? Oh, we're going to talk about this Kendrick double album. Are you ready to talk about that?
Apparently. I mean, is it set in stone that it's a double? Okay.
Oh, no. We're going to talk about we don't know anything about this Kendrick album. He's just giving people little nuggets and stuff. We'll talk about the fact that people think it's a double album. Shout out to Shakara Speaks with the super chat. He said, Coop just spoke the truth that the ancestors love. Those industry black men cannot be not be the stabber for our values, especially when it comes to protecting your culture. Oh, you went and got Doggy Style? That's a classic right there. Yes, but this is the thing. You're right.
That's why you're supposed to keep it.
Do they not want to protect their own culture? That's the problem. Or what are you in this for? Because honestly, if we're in it for the culture, when things like this happen and history gets reworked by the institutions, I expect you to speak up. Because many of you individuals who I grew up listening to are the reason why I'm so vocal about this shit. And I don't like seeing our heroes sitting there being silent when we're trying to sit here and defend it. We're trying to defend history here.
Look, that's Black Star's first album, Mike.
Yeah,
I'm a fan.
I recognize that.
Yeah.
I bought that shit too. I had that disc. So when Talib said what he said today, or said what he said on NPR, I was like, damn, Nick.
I don't appreciate that shit. Right? I still have a copy of your CD sitting in my case.
Yeah.
Right next. Yeah.
I got the physical. You act like I went intentionally to Universal and gave them some money behind your back or something.
Right, you think I did it too? You like, no, man, I still got your CD sitting in my garage.
Right. Andre Shashir in the building. He said, man, M can spit, but his music never moved me. All eyes on me.
Book one.
Jay Short with the super chat, he said, you guys did the breakdown of the Slim Shady LP. His OG fans can't even do that.
They don't want to do that because it just didn't hold up well, and it's not like a slight when your stuff doesn't hold up well.
It just is what it is. Because if we were to go through DMX's It's Dark and Hell is Hot, we were like, ooh, yo, that was some heat. It's different. Mad Max with the super chat says, double album trash except for like 5 historically. Yeah, we'll get into that too. 007 with the super chat says, y'all dedicated a whole half of your show properly educating on legends, catalog, impact, importance, legacy. The way people know who's who starts in the 80s. It's real. Blue Collar Hustle says, rumor is Morale is a solo and Steppers is Black Hippie. Oh goodness. Where are these rumors coming from? All right, let's just get into it. Let's go
ahead and get into it. Okay,
let's get into it. So Kendrick Lamar posted this cryptic photo of 2 physical CDs, burned CDs with like, you know, the markers on them or whatever. One of them says Stepper, master copy. The other one says Morale. And he has a book in front of it that says Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, Kendrick Lamar. So people took that image and they feel like this could possibly be a double disc. I guess that makes sense. He has 2 discs in his hand. One part of the album is on one disc, and one part of the album is on the. One part of the album title, is on the other disc. What do you think of this, Coop?
I think he's petty and likes attention just like the rest of us. He's different from you, Mike, because you're actually pretty humble and diplomatic. Oh, but he's no different than dudes like me who's like petty and like attention. Like he pulled up on Pusha T's release date. He's pulling up on this Black Star album. He liked the attention. Because I'm going to tell you what. You want to know one of the first people to listen to Black Star album? Kendrick Lamar. I bet you.
Of course.
I bet you. And he was like, and he heard the project. He heard the project, and he heard the project, and he was like, "Yeah, don't forget about me. Please don't forget about me."
I think the other part of it too, because it happened on Black Star's date, and it also happened when Jack Harlow put out his track list.
No, that's good that he did that.
I'm glad that he did that too.
I mean, Jack Harlow's getting wrapped in the buzz with legends, and it's like you haven't done anything legendary.
No,
I can't think of one classic song that he's made.
Well, listen, we're going to listen to this album on Friday, and we're going to talk about this album on Friday, and we're going to rate it appropriately.
We are. We're also going to rate Kendrick appropriately. So let's talk about what happens to all-time great MCs who make double disc. Because I think we have 3 prime examples, and 2 of them went really well, and one of them was like mixed results. First of all, if he's doing some speaker box, Love Below type shit, miss me with it. That's the first thing. Miss me with that.
I think that's what he's gonna do.
Okay, now ain't the time for that shit.
Do you think? All right, let's start here. Let's start here. Do you think he's gonna do a double disc?
This is a rapper's climate. Do you understand that this is a rapper's climate? This is not no speaker box Love Below climate. This is a Conway and Benny climate. This is a Freddie Gibbs and Boldy James climate. This is a Pusha T and Nas climate.
Ransom, Black
this
Star.
Is a Ransom climate.
Like
Black
you said,
Star.
he pulled up that Black Star. These niggas is rapping.
J. Cole, this is the rapper's climate. You better not come around here singing and dancing, talking about hey y'all and shit. You understand? I'm so fucking serious.
He's gonna do it.
Like, and if he does it, all of y'all, they've been talking about me keeping that same energy. I want y'all to keep that same energy if he up here singing and dancing. Mike, he better be rapping for 2 albums. He better be rapping his ass off. And listen to what I'm about to say when I'm saying he better be rapping his ass off. He better be rapping his ass off on an All Eyes on Me, Life After Death type of level on this double disc, and not on a Streets Disciple type of level like Nas did. How about that?
Nothing. And I know they're gonna say we're hating or whatever, but let's take notes.
I'm gonna smoke him the way that you smoked that Nas Streets Disciple album, Mike.
Let's take notes here, right?
Let's take them.
Nothing that has happened during this quote unquote rollout or anything that's happened over the past. All right, let's start here. Let's start when he put that. No, let's start when he put that letter out. Nothing from that point to here makes me feel good about this album at all. The title doesn't make me feel good. The fact that he put that letter out in the first place and the timing that he put that out doesn't make me feel good. The fact that he was on the Super Bowl stage and didn't release anything around that time period doesn't make me feel good. Because at the end of the day, if he had an album done, a quality album done, there's no better time to release it than at that point when the whole world is watching, right? And if he had 2 quality discs, let's just say hypothetically, he had a double disc that he was working on and it was damn near finished or whatever, these people at Interscope would have been like, look, what we gonna do is, this one sounds finished, we putting this shit out at the Super Bowl, and we could put this one out in the summer. That's not odd. You've been missing 5 years.
Well, here's what I'm trying to say, Mike. Like, okay, there's a couple. No, I hear everything.
I don't like double disc anyway. You know, anybody who listens to the show traditionally, yeah.
I already know how you feel about double disc, but let's address this. And this is what I mean. Well, you setting yourself up for big, big failure if you don't deliver something Life After Death or All Eyes on Me quality. Are you listening to what I'm saying when I say that?
Yeah.
You hold on. Listen to what
because
I'm saying.
everything else has been a disappointment, right? I think people would collectively agree the Streets Disciple and the Blueprint 2 are disappointments. Correct?
In my personal opinion, he has yet to craft one album that is All Eyes on Me or Life After Death. And I think that you're about to do it now after a 5-year break with a double album. I don't think so.
And we ain't heard shit from you?
We ain't heard shit. And so, like, what gives me the reason to be excited about you even doing that? Because I can give you 2 other legends, Nas and Jay, who double dissertations did not go as well.
Well, you know why they're doing this? Let's just be perfectly honest here. And this is the business side of Mike D talking. They're doing this so he can reach those projections that they put out there early. Those projections that they put out there without us hearing anything, they're releasing a double album so that they can double up the streams. And they can reach those 350 or whatever the numbers are going to be. It's going to compensate for the fact that the album isn't what it should be, right? But
What
the
if he?
other side of that is you're gonna get the numbers, but as Drake when he put out Scorpion, the quality is going to suffer. It just
What if
is.
he? Right. What? But what if this is about feeling contractual obligations? Because that had to deal a lot with Life After Death and All Eyes on Me too.
Well, that's cool, but they executed. And you know what? At the end of the day,
Or about he executed though, and so if he's doing this to fill contractual obligations, I would say that gives me reason to maybe be excited because the two other times I believe were about fulfilling contractual obligations to get out of deals quicker. But you know, those guys also too weren't on 5-year breaks. I mean, one of the guys was incarcerated and wasn't on a 5-year
these
break.
guys were on rhythm. See, you're talking
was
about
incarcerated for like 2.5 years. Like
right. He was incarcerated just coming off of Me Against the World.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And like you said, he had time to really, well, honestly, Pac said in the interview that he really didn't sit there and write while he was locked up, but you still get that reflection time. And as soon as he got out, he was, you know, straight to the pavement and knocking shit out. He worked at a high pace anyway. And then if you want to talk about Big, all the work that Big was doing leading up to Life After Death, from writing with Kim, writing with Junior Mafia, all these remixes, all these features that we talk about with Big that are so legendary, that's what happened between Ready to Die and Life After Death. This guy's not on rhythm.
No, he got better after Ready to Die.
Kendrick's not on rhythm. You took a 5-year break and you think you're going to come back with a double disc? And some people are saying that some of this stuff has been done. But you know what? That's not good either. Shit's going to sound like the Carter 5.
Or I don't think that played well for Pusha T because he was talking in that article about the back and forth of going between like Pharrell and Ye and the process of that. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's part of why the album doesn't sound consistent beginning to end. Because you're going back and forth from one guy's sound to another guy's sound.
Shout out to Ryan Gillen with the super chat. He said Lupe and Crit released a double disc album, and those are great albums. Okay.
No, they're not.
I was waiting on you. Yo, I'll put it this way, man. If Kendrick releases something on that level...
Nothing against Lupe and Crit, but Lupe and Crit are not where Pop, Big, Jay, Nas, or even Kendrick are.
Diplomatic Immunity double disc. See, again... with double disc with groups are a little bit different than individual double discs.
Give me 1 second, Mike. Talk to the folks. 1 second.
Yeah. DeCarlo says, but what if he delivers, Mike? If he delivers, it's high. Look, this is a high risk, high reward. If Kendrick delivers on this and he delivers at a Life After Death, Ready to Die, not Ready to Die, Life After Death, the All Eyes on Me level, I mean, he's top 10 easy based on the rest of his catalog. And they were able to double up with these double discs, depending on how they're put together. If we're talking about 2 rap albums, if we're talking about I guess more of a melodic album and a rap album over here, hands down, Kendrick's an all-time great. But even if he misses on something like this, I don't think it's totally detrimental. But I think that the biggest risk here is if he doesn't meet the standard on a 5-year hiatus, it's kind of a wrap, right? I mean, is that fair to say? Like, I think people can say, you know what, the Kendrick thing is over.
He's putting himself, like he's officially putting himself under the type of pressure that no MC has ever been under. It's like, okay, so you're going to take a 5-year break and then you're going to try to double disc it on top of that or double digital stream. I don't know even what
if he connects here. If he connects here, this is all-time great stuff.
Oh, hold on. So this is like...
Let's talk about that, if he connects.
Well, let's talk about it because, you know, like I'm not the gambling man that I used to be, Mike, but I don't mind taking chances. And so I'm not averse to a man that likes to take risks because, you know, bigger the risk, bigger the reward.
Right.
He's taking epic level risk at this point, though, with the double album. I'm saying that, and I think sometimes people get it confused and think that I'm not a fan of Kendrick. I'm a pretty big fan of Kendrick. I actually just went by Good Kid, Mad City in this case, and I was thinking to myself, that might have been the last CD I ever bought, Mike. Good Kid, Mad City might have been the last CD I bought. Like, bought. You know,
DeCarlo says if he connects, it's going to be unreal, and I agree with that.
if he connects, it's going to be on Unreal, and we're going to have
top 5 conversations then.
We're going to have top 5 conversations if he connects. Yes, we are.
But if he doesn't connect, 5-year hiatus in tow.
So the same way you can go from being like borderline top 10 to in the top 5 is the same way that you should probably maybe get slid back 5 to 7 notches about this weight and about it not being worth the wait. Wouldn't you say so?
Oh, I agree.
Because if we be fair on one side, we got to be fair on the other side. So people look at it as like, oh, well, he can jump into the top 5. It's like, yeah, but he can jump his ass to 20 too.
This is very pivotal. Big sliding right here. But and I want to be fair, the reason why the slide is so big is the 5-year hiatus. And what's been going on for the past 5 years. This ain't a regular 5 years. This isn't 2010 to 2015 5 years.
No, this is what I want to say to that.
This is heavyweight.
No, listen what I'm about to say. This is why I keep bringing up the Rakim point. He wasn't the greatest MC of all time when he left. He stood shit to lose when he left and took this break. That's why I told you, after you heard the 18th letter, well, he left the game as the greatest MC of all time. There were only a few people that even came along that didn't even put that into discussion or conversation. So you still walked away from the 18th letter like, no, still might be that guy and still definitely deserves to be in the conversation. He wasn't even that when he left. He was somebody that was looking like a borderline top 10-ish guy when he left. What happens when somebody borderline top 10 leaves like this? Because the other guys that everybody keeps bringing up that have left like this are Nas and Rakim. That's literally number 1 and number 2 on my list. He's not that.
Jay Short with the super chat says, I don't see how he delivers a classic double album with no support or crew. Big had Bad Boy, Pac had Death Row, Kendrick has, and that's a really, really, really fair point because that was a collective effort on Life After Death. And that was clearly a collective effort, on All Eyes on Me. Because when Pac got out, Death Row was like everybody's songs, all hands on deck.
People don't understand. Puff and Big called the East Coast for Life After Death. Havoc's on there. RZA's on there. The entire Hitman on there. Locke's on there. Like literally the only
Jay-Z's on there. Like Kim's on there.
Kim's on there. Jay's on there.
Too Short's on there. DMC's on there.
Right.
Premier. You said that, I'm sure. Bone Thugs and Harmony's on there.
Thugs and Harmony is on there. They called everybody. It's like calling all hired guns.
Yeah. And with Pac, they literally were giving people his song. I mean, they were literally having people give Pac their songs. California Love is Dre's song. Mom Made Up is Dog Pound's song.
Hold on, which one is Dog Pound's song?
Mom Made Up.
Yeah, no. They're like, no, that belongs to Tupac now. And everybody, and you want to know it, everybody was like, cool.
Yeah, all hands on deck. And I think that's a fair point. When it comes to Kendrick and doing a double album, I don't think there's that level of support that Big and Pac had to make something to that level. So he's kind of behind the 8 ball on that.
Self-inflicted wounds.
Oh, definitely. So Hudson says, have y'all heard of Black Hippie? I don't know. I haven't heard of him in like 10 years.
Who are they?
Kendrick doesn't put any of them on any of his albums. I think the last time I heard from them on a Kendrick album was on Money Trees. Correct?
Who are they and where are they?
We can't start pulling stuff like that out our ass now. Because they're not on To Pimp a Butterfly. No. They're not on Damn.
No.
They're not even on the unmastered, whatever. Untitled, unmastered.
Yeah. They're
Dumb It Down says, whatever Lupe brought up, whenever Lupe's brought up, Coop disses him. Look at the chat.
That's not true. I brought up the cool in a positive way just earlier in this show to actually show Lupe's intelligence because he knows how to format an album and still keep the street aesthetic to it while attaching something that's attached to the African-American diaspora educational system around this nation. So brother needs to listen to the show from beginning to end. Right.
LP says, everything we loved about the 80s, Rakim and Eric B's style. By the 18th letter by the time the 18th letter came out, he wasn't wearing no chains, wasn't wearing no hoodies, all at the time. I never thought about that, but that's interesting. Well-versed Session says, if Kendrick connects, he did something that Nas and Jay couldn't do. Yeah.
Yes.
So let me ask you guys this. What do y'all think about him doing a double disc? Do y'all think he's gonna connect? With that being said, he's doing
Hey,
something that Nas and Jay couldn't do when they were in perfect rhythm. Jay had just
so
made the blueprint. Jay was at really the apex of his talents. Now clearly Ether just happened, and I think that he dug deep and was rhyming his ass off on the blueprint too, but it still suffered from the fact that it was simply a double disc. I think that's the biggest knock on the blueprint too. It's a double disc. Like
same thing
if
with Street
you,
Disciple
what's
and Wu
that?
Tang Forever.
Yeah,
Thing with Street Disciple and Wu Tang Forever, it's 2 discs.
yeah.
That's why I keep saying, if you think, like, I don't think people understand this. This doesn't play well unless this album is All Eyes on Me or Life After Death level. And I'm going to say this, and you know I've said this before, Mike. I'm not even in love with this 2 on All Eyes on Me like that. I tell you, All Eyes on Me Book 1 is a top 10 album because of this 2 is just a top 20 album. This 1 is a top 10 album. And I'm going to say this again. He hasn't made any, Kendrick doesn't have one album as good as All Eyes on Me Volume 1. I don't care what you say. You don't have any evidence of that shit. There's more classic
man,
songs.
they gonna kill you in the chat for this.
No, listen to me. There's more classic songs, or just as many classic songs on All Eyes on Me Volume 1, like in terms of hip hop classics, than maybe he's made in his entire career. Like on Volume 1. Think about this. Ambitions as a Rider is on there. All About You is on there. Got My Mind Made Up is on there. How Do You Want It is on there. America's Most Wanted is on there. No More Pain is on there. I Ain't Mad at You is on there. California Love is on there. I just named Kendrick's greatest
Only
hits.
God could judge me.
God can judge me. Like, stop playing with me. He ain't never made no album like that. And so if you think that after 5 years, he's about to go make something comparable to that, yeah, I want to see if he's smoking on my top 5. Yeah,
yeah. Man, Nan says big risk if it don't hit. Every track, no skip. I mean, I don't want to be that critical on it. Rigorol7 says Kendrick definitely holding. He been letting everybody outside Nas play their card. I think he's finna shit. Okay, you said that Kendrick's been holding out on material. See, the part of that I don't believe is because if you had material you were holding on to and it was fire, we would have heard that right after the Super Bowl. But see, you said something earlier. Black Thought has put him in not Black Thought. Black Star and Black Thought have put him in a vicarious position right now. Because we just heard the next level. We just heard the next level.
A week before your release.
Yeah. Now what you got?
Yeah. I feel like listen to MLP song, and he up. And he up. Get him. Because they just upped the ante. And I told you, what they did well is what he does. All of y'all that love To Pimp a Butterfly, like, that's what To Pimp a Butterfly is supposed to sound like when you want to hear it all the time. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's man, like, that Black Star album is exciting.
That's that same zone. And they just operated in that zone just as well as him, as if not better. And his album is dropping next week. It's like, yeah, pressure's on.
And then they did it with 9 songs, got in and got out.
Ryan Gillum. And I'm starting to appreciate more how they did it. Like, it starts to make me think that they kind of knew what they had on their hands. Like, they knew what they was going to do. Like, this has been so long coming that they were, like, in the mode to execute. And some of the highlights of Talib's interview with NPR kind of touches on the zone that most gets him in because of Mos' spirituality with Islam. Yeah.
And I love the fact that they dropped it in the middle of the week, too. And the fact that, did you hear that part where he was saying that, they didn't drop it because, Mos and Ramadan and all that stuff? It worked perfectly because you got the industry baby in Jack Harlow that's dropping Friday, but then you got Black Star dropping that Wednesday, and they just took all of that attention from the middle of the week. I thought that was awesome. I have no problems with the way they released it, and then like you said, they just put all the pressure on Kendrick Lamar that's dropping next Friday.
They put all the attention on hip-hop.
Ryan Gillum says, how is Androgynous Wave not a good album? I love that album, actually.
What did he say?
That Lupe album, Androgynous Wave.
Everybody keeps telling me to go back and listen to it. No,
that album's dope. I thought that album was slept on the year it came out, because that was 18, I believe.
You think it's better than The Cool?
I think musically, I'm gonna listen to both of them side by side. I think musically, he took it somewhere different on that, and I wouldn't be mad if someone thought it was better than the Cool. I wasn't a super big fan of the Cool. I mean, I like it. I'm gonna go back and listen to both of them. Nas the Goat says, "Coop, you are so disrespectful when when it comes to Lupe. Lupe is better than Kendrick, and Androgynous Wave is better than To Pimp a Butterfly." LP says.
Who's being disrespectful now, really?
LP says the way things are now, it's gonna connect, whether it's worth it or not, because of how fan bases are now. Today's fan bases aren't objective anymore. I think the thing is, man, when it comes to Kendrick and his mainstream success, we're gonna be able to gauge how organic the fanfare is for it. Because if these songs don't age well and we don't hear them throughout the rest of the year, this didn't connect. This ain't gonna be one of those things you can say connected that first week and we don't hear nothing else. You know what I mean?
And never underestimate this. Every fan base, every artist fan base, even for as legendary as it may be, has their fan base go through a period where their fan base like gets married, buys homes, starts traveling, perspective on life start changing. Like your fan base changes too. That's one of the reasons that you end up with a Blueprint 3 and Life is Good. Well, it's not just the artist that has changed. Well, so are the people that have listened to their music. It's like, this nigga been rapping about this since he was 19. I don't want to hear that anymore. And so he needs to be mindful of that in this process too. Because, I mean, the last time we seen him, he was like, what, 29 going on 30? That would make him 34 going on 35 now.
Yeah.
Those are some of the biggest changes in your life as a man, at least. And so for his demographic, what has happened to his demographic as well is something that's going to be telling, because everybody is saying that they love it. It's like, well, you love that in a space and a time. You might not love some of that stuff as much as you think when you grow up a little more. Like, I'll tell you, one of the things that I don't love about Streets Disciple is that I could tell that the artist that I love was about 7, 8 years older than me from how he was talking about life and like marriage, because I was still like very much single and not, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I could hear on Streets Disciple that it was like, it's like, oh, no, this dude is like in love. It's like, oh no, cut that shit off.
It's like, that's not the wave I'm on right now.
It's like, yeah, he's talking about the makings of a perfect bitch and no one else in the room. And it's like, no. We going to Buckhead tonight.
Jay Short with the super chat. He says, they still play All Eyes on Me tracks on the radio out here. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Jay Short's in Cali, I believe.
Cali?
Yeah.
Okay, you out of Cali? Jay, tell these dudes how they just randomly play like Easy and Dre and Short and 40 and Pac and Game. Like,
well, hold. I want to ask Jay Short this, and you probably know too. Do they play Kendrick and Cali like that?
So I was only there for Section 80.
I want to know, Jay Short, do they play Kendrick and Cali like that? You said they play All Eyes on Me, whole disc on the radio now in Cali. Do they play Kendrick like that?
You're going to hear It's a Good Day every day in Cali.
Brian says, I hope you start a Patreon channel. I think most in the chat will support. I want to get the content like live review and album and music of the album with music playing. You know what? We need to do that.
We've talked.
That might be our Monday thing, because we've been talking about possibly doing the Monday show. We might do a Patreon thing where we're able to actually play the music. We'll look into that. I think that's a good idea, Brian, and we really appreciate the fact that y'all would support that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we only want to do it if y'all gonna support it. You know what I'm saying?
We're only gonna do it if the people really deem it necessary. That's kind of how we've moved since we've started. So
definitely. Tominette says, "Off Topic is the Moment of Truth, the top 50 hip hop album.
Easy.
Personally, it's in my top 5, but Guru don't get the love like that.
Easy.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, easy. 1998 was such a heavy year in hip hop. It's I would say a top 3 in that year.
Yes, and
I'm going to Kumani's Dark and Hell is Hot in that one, honestly, for me.
Yes, no, those 3.
Yeah,
I agree. And you could, and all 3 of those albums are top 25 rap albums to me.
Okay, well, all right. So we'll end the Kendrick subject on a prediction. Do you think it's going to be a double disc or no?
It's looking that way, and how about this?
And I don't feel good about it.
I'm about to say, and I don't like that for him. And I'm just going to say honestly, a lot of people are like, "Oh, keep that energy," and you hating on Kendrick. No, no, no. I want him to win. And all I've been saying is that how he's been moving isn't set up for success for him. And I want to kind of say something else. A lot of people think, Mike, that like I'm the influencer on this show. I want you to understand the two biggest turning points in this show actually are things that you turned me on. Because the two main people that when this podcast started that I defended were who?
Kendrick
Andre
and Andre.
4000 and Kendrick Lamar. And y'all can go pull up the footage of when this show first started. People think I be influencing Mike and changing Mike's mind. No. Michael turned me on Andre and Kendrick, and I'm gonna tell you exactly where the turn started. And we're gonna say this right quick and go because I keep bringing up the work thing, and so the work thing now has gotten attached to me. It's like, well, I know Coop, you don't like niggas that don't work. No, it's not me that don't like niggas that don't work. It's Mike that don't like niggas that don't work because it's the first thing that he kept on highlighting to me about why Andre doesn't deserve to be held in this conversation. Mike, what did you always say? But Coop, he hasn't done the work that other people have done that are in the conversation with him. And so when I started actually looking at the work, I was like, hold on, Mike's actually on something because Nas has rhymed more from 2020 to 2022 than Andre has almost in his entire rap career.
It's crazy, right?
And so when things like that occur, well, I tend to change, and I'm the type of person. I'm like Malcolm X's Aunt Ella in the autobiography. She was like a staunch Christian, but like when she converted to Islam, she was like the hardest, like most gangster Islam Muslim loving wearing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's me.
You go hard.
Right. That's me when you turn me. And so what you really turn me on to with the Andre thing is how so many of our great MCs do what? Don't work hard.
I think what it is too, man, not to cut you off, I think that, just operating according to hip hop and a lot of the content and all that stuff from a social media aspect, I was seeing all the work that people were putting in. And I think when you start doing the show, you start seeing, damn, Westside got 3 albums this year. Freddie Gibbs did this, and you kept seeing people frequently coming out, and then you're sitting here looking at these guys that you were holding high, not doing anything.
Not doing anything.
And it's like, how much longer can you defend that?
No, you know what happened though? Is that
and then Nas came out and did what he did.
No, something happened personally. I know for a fact. Well, you and me were working, and then we were working on this, and this required us to work our day job and then work at this more. And then I was looking at all the work that we were putting in, and I'm like, man, we sure are putting in a lot of work to talk about the motherfuckers who really don't do a lot of work. It just didn't seem inherent. Something about it as a black man, something about it as a 40-year-old black man. I guess I was 38 at the time, but something as like a black man that's approaching 40. Something about that seemed unfundamentally sound too about where we were in this hip hop sphere, where we keep revering these guys who don't go to work. Where the fuck else is this okay for us as black men as America? Where else do we not go to work and get revered? Everywhere else where we get up and we do not go to work on a regular basis, we ain't shit.
I've always respected Jay-Z's work ethic. And then when Nas came and did what he did, he took it to the next level.
But only in this hip hop sphere is it that it's like, well, no, he's having label issues. Well, no, this happened. And it's like, we don't get passes like that anywhere else. And why is it okay to give it a pass in here? It's not okay to give it a pass in here. Get up and take your ass to work. If you an MC, what did KRS One say? I'm an MC. Are you one too?
Jay Short with the super chat says, outside of Humble and swimming pools, they play no Kendrick out there in LA.
That's problematic. Are they still playing like Ice Cube stuff, like you know how we do it, and Bob Gunn, and It's a Good Day? Because they was playing that shit every day when I was out there.
Yeah, I play Mac 10 for life all the time. Dumbing down with the super chat says, look at the chat. Everyone says Lupe is better than K-Dot. You clearly don't respect his catalog the way others do. He got at least 3 classics, better than K-Dot. I love the fact that Lupe's fans ride for him like that. Lupe's an incredible lyricist.
No, Lupe's fan base is based on that Nas tree of like incredible lyricism. So a lot of the people who are Nas fans that follow us are big Lupe fans too. Now, are you asking me, is Lupe a better lyricist than Kendrick? It's like, yes. And after that, what does he do better than Kendrick?
I think this is the thing, man, and I
I
know
don't care what people say. He doesn't have one album better than Good Kid, Mad City. And no, Draga's Wave, and I remember Draga's Wave, and I'll go listen to it again. But I'm still pretty certain it's not To Pimp a Butterfly or Damn. But
this
I'll
is
go
my
check
thing
again.
on the Lupe and Kendrick thing,
And I love the Cool.
and I think Lupe feels this way too. I don't want to speak for anybody, but look, we both were trying to get in the rap game in the early 2000s, right? Mid 2000s, maybe, whatever. The game was different. It wasn't lyricist friendly.
What?
And I think Lupe came in the he came in around those same times. And he was able to break through with it, doing what he was doing. And by the time he expended himself on his first 2, 3 efforts, here comes this new wave where somebody like Kendrick's able to be himself and get all the fanfare for an effort like a Section 80, Good Kid, Mad City. And I think Lupe truly believes, and I believe this too, if he came around 2009, 2010,
He's Kendrick.
yes,
I can agree with
to
that
the
too
max.
because Food and Liquor has Good Kid, Mad City vibes.
And if he would have gotten the support of the rest of the industry in the ways that Kendrick did in 2009, 2010, that effort would have sounded a lot different.
Now let's stop for a second. Now Pusha T just had Pharrell and Kanye behind him at the same time, but you know the first time I saw Pharrell and Kanye get behind one guy at the same time?
Lupe.
And that was when they were production-wise at their peak. So no, he had fair opportunity and fair shot because he had Pharrell and Kanye co-signing him at the main time when literally everything that Pharrell or Kanye said or did went in this industry. So those people need to go back and look at history and understand that shot was afforded fairly to him. On a personal level, and I've always told you this, Mike, Kendrick's family is from Chicago, and when you look at them stylistically and rhythmically, rhyme pattern-wise, what they do. Oh no, Lupe is superior because Kendrick has more of a Chicago style when he gets to that doing that rhyming shit than he does a West Coast sounding style. Well, Lupe's better than that. But what I'm going to tell you is that the separation of them in artists is what you hear really in Food and Liquor and Good Kid, Mad City. Kendrick is more entertaining and a better songmaker.
I think Kendrick can play for the radio much better. And I think that
he can do Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe and Money Trees, whereas Lupe does like Kick Push and The Cool.
I agree with you. Nas the GOAT says Lupe has 4 great albums. That's on the level of Kendrick's 4 albums. We could do a poll for this. He said Food and Liquor, The Cool, Test 2 and Youth, and Draja's Wave. Lupe was K-Dot before. He said Lupe was K-Dot before K-Dot.
Those are all good projects. Only one of those projects I would consider to be great is The Cool. The rest of them are good. Like, how about this? We talking about 3 4s and a 4.5.
AKs and Curtains says Test 2s and Curtains is better. I'm sorry, and Youth, excuse me, is better than The Pimp a Butterfly.
A lot of people feel that way, but I'm
They do?
okay. You want to know what?
I love you, Lupe fans, man. Because I love Lupe. You know what I'm saying? Like, Mickey Fax is the homie. I've never met Lupe, but, you know, Mickey Fax and Lupe are real close, and they're incredible lyricists. So I'm glad that the fan base rides for them like that.
No, and they're riding right now. So I'm going to tell you what we're going to do, especially seeing how we're about to be, like, reviewing Kendrick in about 10 days. So one of these next 2 shows before that review, we'll pull up Kendrick's 4 and Lupe's 4, and I'm gonna go back and listen to all Lupe's shit. Like I know Food and Liquor and The Cool like the back of my hand, so I really don't need to go hear them, but I will go listen to Draga's Wave again and Test 2 and Youth again.
Okay. Let's do that and talk about that next Wednesday.
I like that nobody brought up Lasers because that shit was whack.
Yeah, no one brought up Lasers.
How y'all not bringing that up? That at least lets me know that it's heads. Y'all know y'all Lupe shit and that y'all not going off the deep end. And out of respect and the fact that according to hip hop is run by the people and for the people, I'm gonna go listen again. I just happen to think that you're probably wrong, but we'll see.
Did you see this poll that one of our viewers put up? It was DeCarlo. Shout out to DeCarlo. I think he's in the room right now. DeCarlo said, A2HH, this made me so sad this morning. I finally get why y'all go so hard on Eminem now. The vultures really have taken over. Hip-hop and it makes taking over hip hop. Excuse me, and it makes me sad. So it was a poll that I think Daily Rap posted, and it said who will leave a bigger legacy, Eminem or Kanye West, and it was 72% Eminem, 28% Kanye West.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
I mean, what is we talk about impact, and I think we talk about Kanye's impact, or at least I do all the time. And I want to be clear, like I think that before Kanye West came along, you needed to have a level of street credibility in rap, no matter what. And if you didn't, and if you were like a Ludacris or a Nelly or something like that, you just had to be able to have a big record, and you weren't looked at as like the face of hip hop.
Nelly had street cred in St. Louis, though.
He did, though. No, I agree. I'm just talking about in the music.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, I think that Kanye's impact can be seen on the J. Cole, even Kendrick, Drake, definitely. We talk about how 808s and Heartbreaks has impacted that part of, I guess, quote unquote, the OVO sound. I don't know what other way to describe it. Even artists using auto-tune to that degree, even though T-Pain was doing it, but rappers taking on auto-tune in that way, honestly, Kanye kind of did that first. You remember when he did that Put On with Jeezy?
Yes.
That exactly. Changed everything.
That was everything.
That changed everything. I didn't like it when it happened, but once again,
game shut down the club down here. He used to shut down the club down here when it came on.
And we're not even talking about impact production-wise either. So I guess from there, and what I would ask the people who, did this voting, like what exactly is Eminem's impact? What'd you say?
One of the things that needs to happen in all this is that it would really behoove him. So we'll stop riding on his ass so much about it. For him to speak these things in these matters. And to speak about them seriously like an adult. Like an adult white male that has made himself ridiculously and filthy, not even rich, but wealthy in a black sphere with the cosign of black people who, quite frankly, he has superseded on almost every level because of his white privilege. He needs to start speaking to these things. That's what I think the next thing should happen.
What do you think he should say exactly? Like,
I think just at a point for where we are with it, and to the point that they are literally like altering rules and handing you things that you don't deserve and you haven't earned, which has happened before, but the egregious nature to which that it happens, even quite frankly, at the twilight of your career, it's like, well, why don't you be an adult and address this situation? Because you talk about how much you love hip hop. Well, step up and show us.
Yeah, and again, man. No, I agree with that.
Step up and speak on these things. Stop ducking and hiding, and because that's what he does. Like he does interviews at convenience, very much in the way Jay does, almost as if he's above reproach. And it's like, and I hate to say it like this, it's like that Dave Chappelle's thing where they're like in the courtroom and it's like, do you think Michael Jackson did it? It's like, no. And they're like, why? It's like he made Thriller. It's like, well, that's how I feel about Jay. It's like, well, Jay avoids interviews. It's like, well, yeah, he made Reasonable Doubt in the Blueprint in the Black Album in 97 HOF. Like, I don't give a fuck if he skips interviews for the next 10 years. You don't get to do that, though. You're not Jay, but somebody treated you like Jay, like us. That should have never happened.
I never did, but you're right. Collectively, those conversations should have never happened.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, you got treated. It goes back to that Rolling Stone cover we talked about that had who? Pac,
Big, Jay, and Eminem.
And that's some of where that whole Nas disrespect started too. So Eminem has something to do with where the Nas disrespect starts too. Because Jay's not supposed to be ahead of Nas on there either. But the fact that they put Eminem in there, it was just blatant disrespect to a hip hop hit.
Speaking of Nas disrespect, DJ Vlad used to do that a lot whenever he would ask people their top 5. I remember specifically Jim Jones. He asked his top 5. Jim Jones gave him his top 5. I forgot what it was. He didn't say Eminem. And as soon as you ask somebody what their top 5 is and they don't mention Eminem, you're like, what about Eminem?
Yep.
That kind of shit. The person didn't say Eminem. Leave it alone.
Right.
No one, you know what I'm saying? Like, that shit is wild, man.
It is.
Shit is wild.
Like people be saying I'm wild for the stuff I be saying. It's like, yo, they got paid to say that. Or that nigga owned that other nigga. It's like, oh, you're not your own man. It's like, no. I mean that shit because like we grown men. Like we know what it's like. Like I'm outside. It's like, no, I can see how you move somebody else own you. It's like, don't be mad at me because I'm saying it. Don't be owned by no other man.
Ray Realms with the super chat says, "Would you brothers be adverse to doing a Lupe versus Kendrick after K Dot's album drops?" I'm fine with that. We'll let the Lupe fans pick the Lupe songs. Ray Gillum said, "Yes, please go back and listen to Tattoos and Youth." Yes.
No, I will. No, I will. Listen.
And there was another super chat that I missed. Rigor says, "Yo, Coop, match it and we review Lupe together, homie."
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Rigor Raw actually, we've been talking on Twitter. Like me and him got some same of aesthetics and vibes, and he don't actually live too far.
Okay. AK Curtin says, "Without the support of M is Hobson. Excuse me. Without the support, M is Hobson." Jay Short says, "Beyonce tried to do country awards. They said no." And, they do that. And, they're not. If that's what they want to do, it's what they want to do. We're just more welcoming to any and everybody, which is fine. But again, earn it, man. That's all I say. Earn it.
It just.
There's no way in any poll that somebody could sit here and say that Eminem's legacy will leave a bigger legacy than Kanye West.
Well, no,
not to that degree.
Let's quote Tribe Called Quest. Well, we just need to check the rhyme, and it's like, well, when you check the rhyme, it's just not there. He's not where, and it sounds disrespectful. See, people who are fans of his that have him placed high. Well, some of y'all need to understand that part of why you have him placed high is because of the time that you heard him and where he got placed. I'm never going to take away the fact that he's a great lyricist. But outside of a brief run that a lot of other MCs that have had who are black, he hasn't had a special career. I can show you a lot of guys that have had pretty dope 2-3 album runs. A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Like, how about this?
Longer than that. I think one of the big things, though.
You want to know somebody like forget all of y'all taking issue with Kendrick over Lupe. Y'all need to be taking issue with the fact that Eminem is somebody that gets more notoriety than Lupe. That's the same wheelhouse, too. You feel what I'm saying?
No,
Lupe is somebody with a better catalog than M that does the same stuff M does on that lyrical miracle level that doesn't get notarized like that.
No, you're right.
I feel what you're saying about Kendrick, but this is what I mean about the brainwashing of the culture. It's like we got to start directing the attention where it really belongs. And it's like, instead of giving Kendrick the smoke, need to be giving M the smoke because M's rated way more highly than Lupe is.
It's straight up. No, I couldn't have said it better myself. No, that's 100%. And I wonder why that smoke is done.
Stop being so brainwashed by it. You see how quick we want to put Lupe and Kendrick against each other? It's like, no. Let's put Eminem and Jack Harlow up against these guys. Let's see how they do against them.
Well, speaking of which, man, you know what? I don't want to talk about Jack Harlow yet because we got a little bit to go. Let's talk about that Ozark episode.
Right.
That was amazing.
It's a brilliant show. But
sleep is the cousin of death.
The timeless themes. The timeless themes strike again.
Okay.
It never failed.
For the people who haven't seen it, what was it? Season 4, episode 8 of Ozark was entitled "Sleep is the Cousin of Death." And throughout the episode, Ruth was bumping Illmatic. I want to say One Time for Your Mind got played, New York State of Mind, Life's a Bitch.
Right.
I feel like it was another one that I'm missing. Represent was played. Yeah. And so at the beginning of the episode, they were going over, she was kind of bouncing off classic albums with her cousin, and they were naming like the first 2 or 3 songs of the album or whatever. Cool little game. Anyway, I hit Coop up, man. I was like, and I don't want to rehash these conversations because y'all seem very adamant about how you feel about It Was Written. But it's just something emotional about Illmatic.
There we go.
That It Was Written. It's a quality that It Was Written, the songs don't have. And it's not about the rapping, because on the technical level, yes, Nas probably is a better lyricist on It Was Written than he was on Illmatic. He's probably rapping better on It Was Written than he was on Illmatic, but it's just it's an intangible that Illmatic has that I can't even really explain that pushes it over. Not only It Was Written, but a lot of all-time great albums.
It's the greatest rap album of all time. You're seeing some
I'm
of the
getting
evidence
there.
why the timeless themes apply everywhere. You can take a character of a young white woman who was raised in a trailer park off the lake in Missouri, and somehow, some way, the themes that are on Illmatic are relatable.
You can appreciate good music no matter what walk of life you are. And I think that, again, I don't want to isolate any hip hop fans in some of these discussions we have, but you know good music when you hear it. And I think that even when we talk about Eminem fans, a lot of Eminem fans who were brought into hip hop because of him, they explored once they got in and realized, yo, there's a lot of greatness out here. Those are the different fans than the Eminem fans who came from Eminem and only listened to Eminem and D12 and G Unit or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Respectfully. But yes, when you hear Illmatic, you understand, okay, shit is different.
Shit is different.
And it's not about technicals, not about technicalities. Blue Collar Hustler says they wanted to use Memory Lane but couldn't. Okay. I'm sure there was a lot of publishing issues going on, especially with the samples. But I felt fulfilled even with just the 4 songs that they used.
Well, also this, and I want people to understand this too. Whatever you feel about It Was Written, there is nobody that's about to call Nas or the makers of It Was Written to try to ask to use songs for that, to do a whole episode about a series, quite frankly, that is as popular and as large as this series. Like, this isn't like some small, like, rinky-dink series going on. Like, their lead actor is somebody who literally has been in Hollywood for the last, 30 years? And is a major player. Like, they're a serious, big-time show. Like, that's the type of weight that Illmatic has in the sphere and the legacy of music. Like the legend of Nas is heavy and shrouded in Illmatic, and this is some of those. This is some of the proof about why it's worth it, though, because it's the timeless thing again. Because
and I was gonna ask you, I was gonna be like, yo, what other album could someone actually do an episode themed around like this?
They can't, because it's the greatest rap album of all time, and I keep saying the separation is the themes.
I could see Only Built for Cuban Links, right?
I couldn't even see that. It'd have to be a crime
see The
movie.
Chronic.
Crime show. It'd have to be a crime show. That would have to be a West Coast show. That's not. See, that's what I mean. You couldn't just throw it in there. It would have to get centered down around something. Like if you were to play the Purple Tech, it'd have to be a crime story. If you were to play the Chronic, it can be some West Coast shit. That's why I keep bringing up. No. This white girl from Missouri goes to Chicago, but she's playing Illmatic.
Well, the thing is,
go everywhere.
I think the deeper part of it is the fact that she just lost her cousin, and the deep emotion of those records while she's listening to it, just the anger, frustration, and the sense of loss, and how all of that loops into, like you said, those classic themes of Illmatic, life's a bitch and then you die, the lines in New York State of Mind, and represent, and how they were able to use that as more of a vibrant piece, but still having that menacing portrayal there. It just gives an album like that just a whole new life, in a sense where it's like, it's just incomparable to a lot of albums, but especially It Was Written.
When One Time for Your Mind came on, I was like, man, that shit sounds fucking good. That's the worst song on this album.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that too.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I was thinking that too. I was like, yeah, that's...
Isn't it a whole vibe when it comes on and you're like, this is the worst song on this album. It's the greatest rap album of all time. Right.
Greatest rap album of all time.
It is.
I'm getting there. I've always said Aquemini is the best hip hop album I've ever heard.
I'm sliding the Aquemini down, Mike. It's not aging well. I'm just being honest.
Okay,
I love it.
I'm
Yeah,
fine with you saying
it's
that
not
because
aging well. It's not aging well.
okay.
Not like
I've
other
always
classics.
had It Takes a Nation and Billions to Hold Us Back.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Aquemini is not aging like It Takes a Nation. It's not.
The other one that I've had in those spots is Doggy Style, Only Built for Cuban Links.
Yep.
And yeah.
Oh, you're naming it right there. Those are all the albums that are right there.
And you know what? One of my personal favorites, Death Certificate, is vicious. That's another one of those albums that has such timeless themes and sentiments, and it ends with no Vaseline. And it didn't even need no Vaseline on there, to be honest. It could have went off with Us. Like, it could have been.
That was one of those I'm the greatest rapper alive moments. And here's evidence. Listen to this classic album. But watch me go ahead and fuck my old group up for life before I go.
And I just dropped, like, the greatest diss record ever. Like, I'm totally confident in the fact that No Vaseline is the greatest diss record ever in hip hop.
We're just talking, like, if we're stripping things down, kind of like, okay, so I always said it's like, well, if you just strip all things down, like Allen Iverson probably pound for pound, or Isaiah Thomas is better than anybody who ever lived pound for pound if you strip it down. That's kind of what No Vaseline has as a diss record. It's like, well, if you just strip it down, that's the record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jay Short says Nas is top 10 without Illmatic? That's a good question. I never heard that.
After this run, yes. Yeah.
I can't imagine Nas without Illmatic. I'm trying to close my eyes and picture it.
The legacy is shrouded in the mystery of the man in the album and the like lyrical prodigy brainchild who made the album. So it's like it's hard to imagine it or envision it. But listen to the guy that's rapping on it was written. It's like, yeah. It was written, you know. Lost Tapes, Stillmatic, Godson, Magic, KD1.
Jay Short says that they could have done an episode on the College Dropout. I could see that.
It's possible.
But yeah, man, it's something deep and emotional about Illmatic that it has a character that's unexplainable that It Was Written just doesn't have. It's one of those things, man, again, when we try to articulate greatness in hip hop, it's an intangible thing. And I think that's kind of like what we go on with our chart. I know a lot of people ask, like, what's the intangibles? But when you look at Illmatic and pretty much anything else, but let's look at Illmatic and It Was Written. From a skill set wise, he's clearly a better rapper on It Was Written. Mm-hmm. He has the hit song on It Was Written. It Was Written did the number.
Better hook writer too.
Better hook writer. Mm-hmm. I think the production is far apart, but I don't think the quote unquote beats are far apart. They're two different things.
Yeah, the production is far apart. The beats are not far apart. No, the beats on there still slap. Mm-hmm.
Those songs on Illmatic are just so strong, man.
It doesn't feel the same when you're hearing him rap on New York State of Mind. You're hearing the words and the thoughts of a kid that sounds paranoid and trapped in the projects, but hopeful that he can get out. If you're listening to that between the ages of 12 to 17, how the fuck can you not relate?
And the second song, he's on like, I woke up early on my born day. I'm 20. It's a blessing. The lessons of adolescence keeps my body now refreshing. My physical frame is celebrated because I made it. Like, yeah. Again, you got better rhyme schemes and themes, and I gave you power and stuff on It Was Written, but you don't have those kind of emotions on It Was Written like that.
New York State of Mind, Life's a Bitch and the World Is Yours is better than everything on It Was Written. Yeah. Okay. End of story.
I would venture to say that It Ain't Hard to Tell is too.
So I'm saying we can just start off with the start of the album. We can go to the first 3 songs and show me where that happens when It Was Written. It doesn't. Yeah. So next. But it doesn't happen on any other rap album either.
Exactly. I mean, we're not being that hard. It's just
I think that's a better start to even Follow the Leader. Like, I think that's a better start than Follow the Leader. Like, I would take New York State of Mind over Follow the Leader. I would take Life's a Bitch over Microphone Fiend. Mm-hmm. And I would take The World Is Yours over Lyrics of Fury.
I might disagree with you on the microphone fiend thing, but
Maybe that
I'm
might be
not
my
mad.
tie because you know how I feel about microphone fiend. That might be a
Yeah.
tie. Likes a bitch microphone fiend, but New York State of Mind's better than Follow the Leader, and The World Is Yours is better than Lyrics of You. Just inherently, maybe not lyrically, but inherently, yes.
007 says to take away Illmatic, and it was written and alone. I'm saying, and that alone blows a hole through 90%. Hold on one second. This chat keeps moving. All right. 007 says take away Illmatic. You have it was written, and that alone blows a hole through 95% of the albums in comparison. And then he follows up with Godson, Stillmatic, Magic, etc. Also, so go back, and it's better than Reasonable Doubt. He's also going back. It's better than Reasonable Doubt.
I've always told you that I thought Reasonable Doubt and It Was Written were comparable, but I gave the slight edge to Reasonable Doubt about the overall effect. But I've always told you the MCing on It Was Written is better. Well, the beats on It Was Written is better. It's just Jay did something special with Reasonable Doubt. Very comparable.
You think the beats are better? You think the beats on It Was Written is better than Reasonable Doubt? I think I disagree with that.
Name your favorite beat on Reasonable Doubt.
I would say The Evils.
Okay.
Then you got Dead Presidents. Then you got Can I Live. You got Can't Knock the Hustle. These are some dope beats. Politics as usual.
I don't love those beats like you do. I love The Evils. I love Feeling It. I love Politics as usual. I would quibble with you. The Message, the Setup, Live Nigga Rap, Affirmative
Action.
Live
Nigga Rap might be my favorite beat on It Was Written. Either that or Shootouts.
I feel that way about the setup, but our favorite beats on there are Havoc beats. You like Live Nigga Rap. I like the setup.
Yeah, I like the setup too. I like Suspect.
No, beat wise, it's comparable. I just think the beats on It Was Written are slightly better than the beats on Reasonable Doubt, because Reasonable Doubt has some beats on there that are suspect that It Was Written doesn't have, like Cashmere Thoughts, like Coming of Age.
Cashmere Thoughts just sounds older, and I think that Coming of Age sounds like possibly the first song ever made on that album.
Hey, they got released about a week apart. We just got to call it like I see it. There are some suspect beats that are on Reasonable Doubt. It's not on It Was Written. Mic performance wise,
so?
and mic performance wise, this is what I've always told people about Jay. Jay's best lyrical performance isn't going to beat Nas's best lyrical performance, and this is the proof. It Was Written lyrically is still stronger than Reasonable Doubt, even though the words on Reasonable Doubt are more important to you.
I like the beat for Regrets. And you know what? I think I like every beat.
I like Regrets.
I think I like every beat on Reasonable Doubt over Nas Is Coming. I hate that beat, man.
You hate that Dre beat, don't you?
I hate it. It's very bad.
Silent Murder's dope too. No, beat wise I think it's comparable. But here's where I be telling people this. It's like, well, in 1996, Nas is able to write stories like The Setup and Shootouts and do songs like I Gave You Power and The Message. Do you hear that on Reasonable Doubt outside of The Evils or Dead Presidents?
Now, lyrically, I think Nas has always been a step ahead. And I think when you sit there and listen to The Blueprint and Stillmatic, he's clearly a better lyricist. Whereas some of those songs, in my opinion, on The Blueprint are just much better songs than the stuff on Stillmatic. But if we talking about the actual lyricists, it's really not close.
The prime example of it is actually track number 6 on both of the respective albums. That would be Rewind and You Don't Know. You Don't Know is the better record. Rewind is the more memorable mic performance.
Is it a more memorable mic performance?
Yeah, it is. In terms of the actual performance on the mic of what the MC did. See, I said, you're talking about the song. You Don't Know is a more memorable song. The mic performance on Rewind is more memorable than what Jay did on You Don't Know. Because what's the memorable mic performance about it? Nas told the story back.
I am a hustler, baby. I said water to a well, but I feel you.
No. So you're talking about the end of the song. That's 4 bars. What Nas did, the entirety of the song is a better mic performance than those bars, correct?
Will not lose.
Right. Yeah. Hold on. Those were infamous last words in that battle.
Infamous last words.
Infamous last words.
Okay.
Yeah. Infamous last words.
You wanted to talk about this Pusha T because did we get to the fact that exclusive audio footage is now streaming?
No, we were supposed to start off with that, and then we ended up
going into it. Yeah. I was happy to see this. On my streaming platform, I'm on Apple Music. And you've been telling me about this album for a minute. I was pleasantly surprised. It took me back to the early Neptune days. For the nerd fans out there, In Search Of. It sounded like In Search Of to me.
Push
With
is like 20 years old on here, Mike.
23 years old.
Okay, is it?
Said it came out in 99. I love the album. And you know what? It stood out to me that Pusha was the first verse on there, and a lot of those beats they used for other people and all that. But they were talking about a lot. And it never turned into one of those things where they were just, one dimensional. I don't think that they were supposed to be like that. And the album starts with Malice praying.
Yeah.
Which is,
see, he was always headed towards that, Mike. That's why I was never surprised. He was always headed towards that.
Which I thought was dope.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad this got released, man. I see that people had issue with, again, how we rated Pusha's album. And I'm going to ask you this because I heard from another person that they listened to it in the new way that it was formatted, where it was Pharrell songs and then Kanye songs. And they said they made the album sound better.
So let's address a couple things. First of all, Pusha was 21, not 23 when they did exclusive audio.
Oh, I was just saying it was 23 years ago.
Yeah, it's 23 years old. Pusha's 44. So he's 21 on that album. Malice, I think, is like 24, 25.
Yeah.
You can hear that Malice is the more polished MC in terms of vocally being able to record. But can you hear the Cool G rap, Jay-Z and Pusha T even early on? Like the rapper, you see how he's flowing Reasonable Doubt, like Can't Knock the Hustle style?
Oh, let me go to this super chat real quick before you get into that. He said, the L Web says, it was written as too polished for me. Beat-wise, I prefer the laid-back, jazzy production of Reasonable Doubt. I think that's where I'm at with it, too.
Okay. I mean, I can respect that. I just think beat for beat, it's comparable, and I would like lean slightly on it was written, but not by much. More about the weaker tracks on Reasonable Doubt than the stronger ones. But, splitting hairs, but I'm okay.
But yeah, so Pusha T's influences.
Yeah, you can hear the Cool G rap and Jay-Z like hustling, like rap rhyming fast, scramble type of pace to the rhymes even early on. His flow hasn't gotten sick yet, but you can tell where his inspiration is. Malice is already more polished and even keeled, and knows how to measure the bar, and knows how to punch on the mic, and knows how to audibilize his voice better. So you hear that on exclusive audio footage. You can tell who Big Bro and Little Bro is. That's why I tell people, when people are like, when Lord Willing's popping up and people are like, oh, I don't know who was who, it's like, oh, well, that's because you weren't listening to the first project. You would know who was who. Because if you're following the first project, you can tell where Pusha becomes more polished and learns how to vocalize himself more. You got to catch his delivery was always more slippery early on. He just hadn't refined it yet.
Pusha's had an incredible career, man. And it's like, at Daytona, we were looking at him coming into his own as a soloist. And I think in some of these interviews that I've been seeing recently, they're saying that it's almost dry. It's a better album, or the best album of his solo career. And again, I was thinking, man, I need to listen to It's Almost Dry the way they've reworked it, because I've only listened to it in its original state. But like I said, since they've changed it to where all the Pharrell songs line up and all the Kanye songs line up, I'm hearing it sounds better that way. Is that where you coming from?
Well, yeah, that's part of it too. But let's address the other part of it. Like, well, Apple need to give me a fucking check, because that was my idea, and literally after I said it, they took it and stole it. And I know that we're on their streaming platform. Just because we're on your streaming platform doesn't mean that you get to steal my shit. So what somebody needs to do is work out arrangements to like pay me for like stealing my idea, or I'm gonna run the fuck up on y'all when I see y'all somewhere somehow eventually. I'm not like Mike. Mike is nice and like very diplomatic and kind. I'm not gonna be kind when I see you. I don't like niggas taking my shit. I definitely don't like corporations taking my shit, especially when, Mike, are they cutting us a check for being on their streaming platform every month?
No.
But they need to cut me a fucking check for stealing my idea, fuck nigga. Right.
Well, somebody got to holler at us.
Since they listen to our podcast, listen to that and fucking find out a way to pay me for stealing my idea that apparently is making Pusha T's album sound better.
You just made Pusha's album better.
Huh?
You just made Pusha's album better.
I told you when I heard it, it's like, well, this is two separate albums. If they would have just lined up one side and lined up another and added a couple more tracks, it plays brilliantly like a dark side and a light side, or a cold side and a hot side. But like trying to mix it together, it doesn't play as well. But here is what I want to say. We were a little bit wrong and maybe stepped ahead of ourselves slightly when saying that Future's album is better than Pusha T's album. What we're saying is we enjoy what Future did, and we feel like his degree of difficulty was higher. Future didn't have Pharrell and Kanye like in his pocket the entirety of the time for years to come up with the project. Future hasn't been running around talking about he had album of the year. But what both of the albums are really at the end of the day, for respective different reasons, are fours.
And he didn't release 3 songs before the album dropped too.
That was just dumb. I don't care what anybody says.
It
that was
took
just
a lot
dumb.
of steam out of the album. Rigorous says, all love, but fuck this. No Fear of Time. People are loving No Fear of Time. We gave it a 5.
Yeah, gave it a 5. This is what I'm saying. People are like, oh, well, he's still number one. It's like, okay, so he's still number one. He did like 55. What if I would have told you he could have held it and did 100?
Yeah, at least 80. Ray Realm says, did either of you hear Pusha T's sentiments on To the Casket Drop? They were touching.
I'm talk about that right now. Yep.
What did you think about that?
One, I want to bring up something. This is what
LP says, how good is an album if you have to reformat it? I agree. Go ahead.
Insightful than a mother. So he says he didn't like Till the Casket Drops. Main 2 reasons. And pretty much this is what he's saying in code. These beats were too happy, and my brother was about to quit on me, so it's a painful memory to listen to this. But some of their best stuff is on there. Like
I like Doorman a lot.
Popeyes with Cameron.
I like.
Oh yeah, that's one of Pusha's best verses. Speak of Freedom is one of his most personal and insightful verses. The way he starts off Till the Casket Drops. What else is
I think the Neptunes let them down production wise on that.
They did, because they're there. Doorman, Never Will It Stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. There's been a murder. I'm good. No. There's heat on there, but listen to what I'm saying. Oh, that album don't have shit on Hell Hath No Fury. And that's what Pusha's really talking about, because Hell Hath No Fury is Pusha T's style of rap. He has spent so much time in his career acquiescing to Pharrell making these types of albums, and that's why I didn't love this for him, because here's another thing he brought up in that interview, outside of telling the interviewer that he hates Till the Casket Drops. Well, he also let it out that Let the Smoker Shine the Coop was his favorite beat that Pharrell gave him. And what did I tell you? I told you that was the only beat that Pharrell gave him that really fit him. And he pretty much admitted to it. And all I was saying was that stop asking this all-time great MC to step into your production box when you are more than capable of stepping into his MC box. The album should have sounded like Let the Smoker Shine the Coop and Bramble. Not all this other colorful, fancy shit you trying to do to make yourself sound good, make the artist sound good. Because when everybody's talking about Pusha T's mic performance, this is what I keep trying to express. It's not that the beats are bad. Are the beats for him? He just admitted that Dreaming of the Past was a Ye track that Ye came up off of when he heard Brambleton. These aren't even his tracks. Give this nigga tracks that fit him, because when you give him tracks that fit him, like Let the Smoker Shine the Coop, he performs at If You Know, You Know levels.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what we got with Daytona.
Yeah. These niggas trying to be cute and shit with their beats and with their attitudes and their lifestyle. You don't treat all-time great MCs that way, even if it's your fucking homie that you've known since he was a little kid, and even if he's been signed to you, he's still an all-time great MC.
He probably still views him as that, you know?
No, it's showing in all this, even from the way he's talking. I was like, because he said, Let the Smoker Shine the Coop was me and Pharrell's Glaciers of Ice, and I'm thinking, well, you just should have kept making Glaciers of Ice. Because that's what they did on the Purple tape.
LP says Carrie Hilson was on the album. That's all you need to know. Oh, man.
Look, that Stepping Out song, that beat was awful.
That's all you need to know. Okay. Well, Jack Harlow's getting released Friday. We're going to talk about that Friday. He released a track list. He said he had... Go ahead.
I got a couple more Pusha points.
Okay.
Because this is what I mean about how they weren't trying. First of all, I want you to understand this. When is the last time just two producers the caliber of Kanye and Pharrell produce an album for a major label artist like this? When's the last time it happened? Can you think of a time where two producers of their caliber and their stature
Just in
produced
totality?
Yes.
Um, damn, I don't know.
Right. That's why this album is getting talked about like this by us. When you're like, damn, it's dope. It's like, yeah, but it's not what it's supposed to be. Listen to who's involved. This is Pharrell, Kanye, and Pusha T involved after Daytona. It ain't supposed to be no fucking four.
Yeah.
All right. So and this is what I mean about not trying. Remember when you were telling me I was thinking too much about the whole neck and wrist verse where he should have took that sample from Wamp Wamp with the JoJo dancer?
Mm-hmm.
Mike, Pusha T is ending the verse talking about Richard Pryor because he make Richard Pryor references a lot. Who's the star of JoJo Dancer?
Boom.
You're not listening to your artist when he's rapping. You're not listening to your artist when he's rapping and even going back into your own catalog to make the song hotter and more hip-hop oriented. Because here's another thing that I want to submit to you. Don't want him to be a mixtape rapper. Don't the Black Star album that's a fucking 5 sound more like a mixtape album than that Pusha T shit? What you talking about, mixtape rapper?
That sounds like some future shit, man. Like the Black Star album just sounds like, man, I hate you mentioned that because it makes me look at the Pusha album even lesser from a production standpoint. Because we talk about what Madlib did, and we talk about what Pharrell and Kanye did on it. It's not even in the same stratosphere.
Y'all ain't even fucking with Madlib on that Black Star project. No, you're not.
No.
You got like one beat on there that's fucking with him. One. One. Between the two of you niggas, you made one beat that's fucking with the shit that's on Madlib.
Yo, man. Madlib's on some other shit right now. And I love it. The timing couldn't be more perfect.
It's flawless. Now, here's the last point that I want to make. Like, these things Pusha be saying is real. I realized something when I was listening to Brambleton. Pusha still talks in street code like a street dude. He keeps talking back in Brambleton. That's when Pooh got hit. See, he took that personally. I realized, you know who Pooh is? That's the same person that he's talking about on Lord Willing on Virginia, Shampoo. I'm lost in the men too. I miss you, Shampoo. We miss you, Shampoo.
I didn't even put that together.
Right, Mike. He's going back when he's telling this story. It's like, no, nigga, you remember when we was selling that shit for you and our homie got hit behind it. Don't act like I wasn't in this game. That's what he's saying. Because at the start of the third verse, it's not verse of the year, but that beginning is the coldest shit of the year where he was like, it was said, watching Vlad interviews really was me. He channeled it through you. Listen to what he's saying. So many answers didn't have a clue why Michael kissed Fredo and Godfather too. He's like, nigga, you know what we did. Why you talking to people that you ain't got no business talking to? That's why he kissed Fredo in the scene, because he found out Fredo had been talking to people about the family business that he had no business talking to. So he's contextualizing the Vlad interview like, nigga, you up here talking this shit about me knowing that you don't have no business talking at all.
Brambleton's my favorite song on there. He took it there.
He took it there, and he's bringing up the Pooh things multiple times. Like, nigga, don't you forget what happened to the homie either. Right.
Jay Short with the super chat says, with Pusha and Future not meeting expectations and Kendrick up in the air, is the lane open for the game to be taken over in hip-hop? He's been underrated. And you know what? That's somebody that we just not talking about. The Game does have an album coming out. And he seems to be working with some heavy hitters too, and he's hella consistent. He's always working with heavy hitters.
He is, but also too, it's like, well, we were hearing stuff about it, and then it just kind of, the talk has kind of ceased. So it's like, that's kind of on him. But I mean, lane is open right now. Ransom actually proved with his project the lane is completely open right now. It's completely open.
Yeah.
Ransom
MC of the year right now is Ransom.
MC of the year talk. He just slid right into MC of the Year talk, just like that.
MC of the Year is Ransom right now. I think that Mos and Talib have put their, name in the hat as well. Especially Talib, man. Talib did his thing on this album.
This is his best mic performance. This is one of those things. It's like, not on no shut up and dribble shit. It's like, damn, if you can rap like this, it's like, no, I don't want to hear none of your interviews if you're going to rap like this, nigga. I don't want to hear you podcast. No, I don't want to.
I wanted to turn it off halfway through.
Page. I don't want to hear you pulling up on According to Hip Hop's Instagram page either. How about you just do what you just did? That was great. That was flawless.
All right. Well, Jack Harlow has an album coming out Friday. He just put out his track list.
Hate it for him.
Yeah, and so he said he has 4 legends on there, and he has Pharrell, on a song called Movie Star. Drake on a song called Churchill. What is it? Churchill Downs. Justin Timberlake, Parent Trap, and Lil Wayne on Poison. They are projecting that Jack Harlow is going to do 160,000 to 180,000 units the first week.
So 100 more than Pusha, easy.
I don't understand where the projections are coming from, but you know, Jack Harlow's everywhere, like we said. I mean, they got him sidelined at the NBA playoffs, and he's getting mentions from Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy on the sidelines. It's an all-out push, and you know we done went over the Rolling Stone cover, yada yada. Shit, he was even at the Met Gala, man, and everybody else at the Met Gala was dressed like, I'm just gonna say it, weirdos, and they had Jack Harlow dressed like a man. You know,
let's call it what it is. These black men be dressing real feminine when they pop up at the Met Gala, and the shit need to stop. They be dressing Jack Harlow up like a man, but they dress our men, try to dress our men up like Medea, and the niggas keep doing it like it's cool. It's not cool. Like, you a man, and you're a representation of black men and black culture and hip hop, and you need to look like a man and not like a woman. I don't know how else to say this shit. I ain't about to be nice about it either. Stop dressing like a fucking woman. You a man. Act like it. Talk like it.
Well, I mean, look, Jack Harlow got the message.
Stop using fashion as an excuse to fulfill like your homosexual erotic desires if you had them. Just get your ass out the closet and come say this shit. I live in Atlanta. Just come say this shit. We respect you more when you just come out and say this shit.
Jack Harlow seemed to have gotten the message. They got him in a 3-piece suit in the Met Gala.
Looking very masculine and very
dapper. I mean, look at this. I mean, I know you probably can't see this. I got the images on the screen. I mean, you saw what Gunna was wearing. You saw what, you know, they had your boy Anderson .Paak in the Ike Turner wig, and he had nail polish on, by the way. Let's keep it a buck.
Soft ass niggas doing soft ass shit.
And then they had Jack Harlow over here looking like goddamn 007.
He looked like James Bond.
Exactly. Yeah, they had him out here looking like James Bond. So it's
and we feed the stereotype. You see what I'm saying? Like we feed these stereotypes and these archetypes.
This guy said he want to be the best. He want to be the face of hip hop in the next 10 years. Look at these guys. Really, just based off appearance.
Putting on dresses, Mike. He might just get there. His contemporaries are too busy putting on dresses and shit.
Yeah. I mean, looking at these guys, who would you want to be the face of hip hop in the next 10 years? To be perfectly honest,
not these dudes. I ain't like. How about this? Some of these younger rappers want to make a real fashion statement. Show me you a man and show up with some hoodies and some Timbs next year to the Met Gala.
Yeah. Or put a suit on. Fuck it. Why not?
Right. Like, put a real suit on. Like something from Armani. Like an actual Armani suit or Tom Ford suit, maybe. Like an actual fucking suit. You know, tailored, fitted, maybe. You know, some custom shoes. You know.
Rigor Ross said the camera shit that Harlow did is exactly the point. Yeah, I mean, you know, again, we see.
I mean, like I said, it's not just that they're dressing him up and making him look masculine. It's the fact that these dudes are feminizing themselves, though, and they're acting like
in front of everybody.
But these be the same dudes be talking all this like shoot 'em up, bang bang shit. It's like, oh really? Oh really? Like, nigga, you wear a skirt. The fuck out of here. I don't care if you got 90 niggas with you. You'll never get respect from me wearing a skirt as a man.
Man, listen. Jack Harlow said it at the end of that Rolling Stone article. I'm here to play ball.
Right.
Hudson said that's not Jack's fault.
Dress open and shit.
Hudson said that's not Jack's fault. You're right. It's not.
No, that's why I'm discussing the other side of it, about the black men allowing themselves to be feminized. Because, see, he has no problem playing this game because he looks good in playing this game. They're going to make him look masculine and dapper and attractive in James Bond. They're feminizing the black man.
You remember when they kept showing that image of, you know, him walking the red carpet? I forgot what award show it was. And Sweetie, you know what I'm saying, him and Sweetie crossing paths or whatever. They had him looking like a man. They have him looking like a man in the Lil Nas X video. All these niggas is out here doing some whatever shit they're doing. He's in the jail cell with like 3 chicks.
Yeah.
They got him looking like a G at every point.
Right. All these other dudes is 20 deep with dresses on talking about they got shooters.
Gangstalicious type shit. Boondock showed us this stuff.
looks strange as hell. You niggas is wearing dresses, rolling around with nothing but grown men talking about, I got shooters, we hard. It's like, no, you niggas look gay.
Meanwhile, you got James Bond over here talking about he gonna be the face of hip hop in the next 10 years, telling y'all that he wants to be the best. I think my thing is, man, which young niggas in the game want to be the best? Because whoever wants to be the best is gonna end up being the best.
I know straight men don't wear dresses and hang around only guys. That's what I know.
But like you said, man, if that's your thing and you wanna come out, do that. Do your little Nas X thing.
Just come out the closet. Or be by or whatever it is. Just come out the closet. Like, stop making it seem like you some sort of gangster, like you hard, when you let like these white fashion designers put you in women's clothing.
And tell you you're gonna be setting trends.
You play in the streets, but then you go to the Met Gala and let them turn you into a girl.
Right. The real gangster thing would be to go to the Met Gala and be a gangster.
Gangsters, hey, this is something I know. Real gangsters wear suits.
I haven't seen, again, I hadn't seen one of those mafia movies where the gangsters is wearing dresses.
No. I'm talking about like niggas that I know like that like hustled back in the day when I was coming up that like taught me the game. It's like no. Them niggas put suits on.
Yeah.
We'll go to Vegas, come down to Magic City, like suited up, button down, hard bottoms. Yeah, shoot your fucking ass in a minute. Yeah.
Well, shout out to Jack Harlow, man. You actually went out there and represented for hip hop.
Yeah, he did.
He
dressed like a grown man. So
you did. That I can never knock.
Right.
That I can never knock. We're gonna be talking about that album on Friday, and we're gonna talk about the Czarface album as well. I think there's probably some other things that we're gonna end up speaking about also, because we always have a full plate. There's some other albums that we got to continuously rate. I think you noted them earlier, so maybe we can clean up on some of that on Friday too.
You never know. Somebody might creep up on us too. Like, not saying Kendrick will, but you never know. Like in this climate, like we were in the middle of doing a future review last week. It's like y'all heard the Ransom. I was like, Mike, put my pen down. Like,
yeah, it's a lot. Well, I hope we got all our notes. Rubsky 1978 says, "I come from the USED gene damage pants era." Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Rigger Raw 7 says, "As a Buffalo guy, Machine broke my heart with Puffy." You talk about the skirt? Well, on that note, I'm gonna see y'all Friday.
He addressed that on Hell on Earth too, but he never like really addressed it. Like
yeah, he addressed it but didn't address it.
Right, but we all kind of left it there because his cred's kind of been like that too. You know.
Everybody keeps talking about this Wale album. Wale dropped an album.
Wale did drop an album. Okay. That is right.
Well, we got to talk about Wale's album.
Hold on, ask the people, how is it?
Yeah, how is the album?
I like the last one.
Say, More About Nothing. What album is it? It's not that, is it?
That's the Seinfeld album.
Yeah, no. I don't see it. What album are y'all talking about? We'll look into it.
So I heard he had something coming. I just didn't know that it dropped yet.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll look into that. We'll talk about that. For now, y'all go check out that yearbook. 2020 is out there. 2021 yearbook is out there. Everything is in the description of this video. We document hip-hop history, and, I mean, as you see from this episode, that shit's important, man. Because if we don't document this thing as it's going on, they're going to change that shit as it's going. At 5-10 years from now, they're going to tell you, I don't want to say somebody's name. They're going to tell you that Jack Harlow ran 2022.
Right.
If we don't document this stuff, man, you let the machine do it, then we're not going to have a culture. So these yearbooks are definitely important. We appreciate the fact that y'all help us actually put these together. And yeah, in the description, you can click the link. You get the color version. You can get the black and white version. It's on Amazon. It'll be at your doorstep in a matter of days. And if you want to get the digital version, that's available too, and you can get that instantly. But yeah, we definitely appreciate all the support. We appreciate the subscribers. Continue to subscribe to the page. I'm looking forward to talking about this Kendrick next Friday. There's so much mystery around this, and I know y'all want us to talk about this Kendrick. And they say, where can we get the Black Star? It's going to be the Luminary app. It's $4.99 a month. And Dave Chappelle has a bunch of podcasts on there as well. So
I'm gonna catch up. I'm gonna catch Dave's podcast too, and you know, this album is worth the $4.99. So like, support them, even though they tried to make it seem like the people don't matter, that Black Star matters. Black Star only lasted 24 years because of the people. So y'all never forget that, despite the top comments being made. Because the only reason that they even have any sort of legacy is because of how people have chosen to remember them. And so Talib needs to once again screw his head on straight about some things. But as far as the album goes, 5 out of 5, Mike.
He needs to recant that statement because, again, the people matter. And, you know, like you said, if it wasn't for the people continuously asking for a Black Star album, we wouldn't have this. And, you know, and these entertainers, even what we do, their careers are predicated on the people and the energy that the people bring them from shows to merch, whatever. Like, how can you diss the people, man? Like, I get your creative license and your creative space, but if those people don't show up at the shows, promoters aren't booking you. I mean, that's just the short and tall. That's just the end of it. You know what I mean? The long and short of it.
I don't know. You know what the train of thought is, pun intended, but it just seems very like misplaced and displaced, especially on a day where they dropped the album of the year. And quite frankly, you could argue, and I know it's probably not highlight wise. How about this? The Black Star album, Train of Thought, and Black on Both Sides all have more highlights than this, but I don't think any of those albums are played beginning to end the way what I just heard. You might have just created your seminal record for your fan base. Why don't you be quiet long enough for it to get the reverence that it deserves from the fan base instead of alienating?
Yeah. It's misplaced anger, obviously. And like I said, I got love for everybody out there, you know, but I just don't like any artist or any entertainer shitting on the fans because
listen, this is what I mean about that whole, like, when the time is to fight, it's like, well, I'm not joking about that Apple Music shit. They're gonna pay me or I'm gonna be a problem. Like, you should have been a problem for Universal about your money. See, you want to play the humble, quiet, oh, holier than thou. Like, we be playing that role at a long time. It's like, no, you playing with my money, you taking my shit. Like, I'm coming to whoop your ass. Like I pray and repent and recant, like all that other stuff after I whoop your ass and get my money. You feel me?
Once again, man, have you ever heard Kanye West shit on the fans? Kanye does a lot of wild shit, but he never shits on the fans. I don't think Kanye would ever say the fans don't matter because a person like him understands he wouldn't be here without the fans because the industry didn't want him here at all.
Talib also might look at somebody like Kanye and feel like, well, he should have more fans than he has really and hasn't gotten his just due, and that could be where some of that feeling comes from. But that's spilled milk, you know?
Yep. All right, man. Good shit, man. We're going to talk to you guys on Friday.